about 5 minutes dirty. 5 minutes dirty.
There we go, Sam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the American Motorsports Association Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. I am your host, Mark Murphy, and I am joined, as always, on Tuesday nights by the one and only Sam Crow. And Sam, you keep mentioning bring the Rolaids. We're going to need some of those tonight here at Talladega.
Well, there's been a specific order put out there for Rolaids, Tums. Milk of magnesia, and also there's been an adequate amount of medical supplies like splints, casting material, gurneys, whatever else is left from the chaos tonight.
Whatever else may be left. I think we saw Mike Rigney land the life flight. There are cases of clean brown pants in the broadcasting booth, and we're going to need them. This track is notorious in iRacing for just being an absolute pack race. There is no way for the drivers to get off of each other, and as such, it does turn into a lottery, Sam. And so I do anticipate we're going to see long periods of green flag runs, followed by some cautions. We're going to see at least one crash that involves plus or minus 20 cars, give or take. The fast winners here include Kyle Heath, and Kyle Heath, the only person to have won anything here that's not named Kyle Heath, was David Dunwoody. He won the pole here last fall. In terms of the current schedule, we've got one more race in our 12 in a row, Sam. One more. May the 1st, we're going to be at Texas for the Oval, and then we get 2 weeks off on Tuesday nights. How about that, brother?
What? I don't even know how to even respond to that.
I don't either, but it's...
No AMA racing? What?
No AMA racing on May the 8th or May the 15th. In terms of points, Greg Evans would like to see there be an AMA race every Thursday night. He currently leads the points over Kyle Heath, Dylan Godnez, Ryan O'Donoghue, and Adam O'Brien. Kendall Paul, Sean Merriman, Jason Heaney, Michael Moquin, and Corey Crandall. They round out your top 10 winners this year. Greg Evans, Kyle Heath, Dylan Godnez, Kendall Paul, and Michael Moquin. Edwin James has also won a race. And so those are going to be your drivers that are locked in to the playoffs thus far. There are team standings as well. First Gear Racing right now does have that lead. Dark Horse Performance is second, and then First Gear Racing Team 2, Blackmagic Studios House, Danger Close Racing, and Backwoods Motorsports round out the team standings. So did want to kind of bring those up, Sam. Do you know the history of this place at all?
I know that it was a former military base at one time with a
airstrip.
With the airstrip in the middle. Of course, I knew all of that. But as far as I know a little bit of the NASCAR history. This was where the Great Strike started, and there was a great debate between the drivers and the France family, and it divided a lot of the NASCAR community at that particular time. And I do know the history in some regards to that, but not the in-depth history.
It did. So our fans can see that landing strip in the middle of the Speedway. That's where the old runway was. I don't believe it is still usable as a runway, but it does make a excellent main thoroughfare for the shenanigans that occur here whenever NASCAR comes to this facility.
I can testify it is not the place to be if you're a wholesome kind of person.
Having participated in some of those shenanigans, Sam and I can vouch it is not some place to take your child, but it is a cool place. It's kind of, if you wanted to roll Mardi Gras, New Year's, a rocket launch into
and a Halloween
into a NASCAR race, that would be that landing strip on the night before the Talladega 500.
Landing strip would be the place to go. Yeah,
the night before the old Winston 500, that was the place to be.
Like it.
This is also the place where
I've never seen anything like it.
This is also the place, Sam, where a rowdy fan once stole the pace car, and as Bob Jenkins put it, the officials
the officials
are not driving this thing. And And so that's
a Pontiac Trans Am, if I'm not mistaken.
it was indeed. I used to know the guy's name, and I couldn't remember. I was 5 years old when that happened, but that's part of the lore of Talladega.
My friend Daryl Ferguson. I had a friend named Daryl Ferguson who actually worked for Yates Racing at the time, and he was a gas man for one of the teams. And he was standing beside the guy, and he pushed him out of the way to get to the car.
That's funny.
He said nobody. There was not anyone in the building that just wasn't, or in the facility. It wasn't. Even the police were laughing about it.
Indeed, they were. This track.
The only one that wasn't laughing was Bill France.
Yeah, it was Bill France. Well, probably the guy driving the pace car after they knocked him over the head a few times to get him out of the Trans Am. He probably wasn't laughing very much about it. But it's part of the lore of Talladega. This track was originally slated to be built in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Is where the track was originally slated. Eventually, Bill France Sr. he opted for a tract of land near Talladega, Alabama, which has the distinction of being exactly halfway between what two major cities in the South, Sam? It is exactly halfway between what two major cities?
Birmingham.
And?
I'm trying to think. Oh, Birmingham and Mobile.
Nope. Interstate 20, exactly halfway between Birmingham, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia, which are the two.
Well, there you go.
At the time, those were the two biggest cities in the southern United States.
Municipalities, yeah.
Yeah, they were the two. But now Atlanta has continued to grow. Birmingham, with the decline of the steel industry, has begun to shrink a little bit. But at the time, those were the two biggest cities in the South, and so he built Talladega exactly halfway between the two. It's an easy drive from each. It is also easily reachable from the Gulf Coast. It's about a 5-hour drive from Pensacola, where our family has a place. I've reached it in a day trip from. I've reached it in a nice easy day trip from my home in southern Indiana. So it's not.
Well, it's just to be fair. To be fair,
if you want 6 hours as a day trip.
Yeah, exactly.
I've driven that far for a car race. But it is easily reachable from most parts of the southern Midwest and South, and that's why it was built here. Sam is absolutely correct. This is the site of the famed strike, where most of the then Winston Cup drivers walked away from their cars. Bill France filled the field.
Richard Petty actually started that.
Yeah, Bill France actually.
Sure did.
Bill France Sr. actually filled the field with ARCA cars that day. And Sam, can you tell me who won his only Winston Cup race that day?
Again, you're the history guy. I'm just the guy that gets to enjoy the facts.
My goodness gracious! This started a trend with Talladega hosting first-time winners, and it has had many. The winner of that inaugural 1969 Talladega 500, Richard Brickhouse, and he replaced Bobby Allison in a factory Dodge Charger Daytona, ran away with it, and then Bill France Sr. subsequently announced that any fan with a 1969 Talladega 500 ticket stub would get free entry into any race at Daytona or Talladega in 1970. As the race ran without major issues, the driver took to their cars, and racing has occurred here more or less without strikes ever since. I would like to let you know, Sam, that the absolute NASCAR track record is held here. Right, everybody knows that. Bill Elliott, 212 and change.
Closed course record.
Well, that's the NASCAR record, 212 and change. It also at one time had the closed course record, which it also had the closed course record, which was A.J. Foyt in the Oldsmobile Aerotech. Mark Donahue set the world closed course record here as well. Those marks have since been surpassed by Gilles de Ferran and the run at Fontana in the lightly modified Reynard Penske Honda in 2002. Lightly modified, Sam? Is that what we're going with? I would assume. Actually, no.
Heavily modified.
Foyt's closed course mark still stands, 257.123.
Oh, that's insane. That's incredibly fast.
If anybody wants to go look it up, the Oldsmobile Aerotech. After restrictor plates, the cars are limited, of course, and now they pretty much engage in what is a giant pack race. We're going to get on board and we're going to show you a qualifying lap here at Talladega Super Speedway. We'll get the scoring pylon up. We'll get the fastest lap going, and Ted Craven is going to be the first one to take to the track. And so, Sam, let's get on board with a teddy bear.
I can't wait.
This is a great view because it's going to show exactly what Ted sees out of the visor. This will give our fans at home
It's in new paint tonight.
Yeah,
He's got a new livery.
It is.
It looks sharp.
Let's show that. There it is.
He's got that Ford Mustang looking good.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I love it. That's great.
I'm here for it. So,
Me too.
So how do you qualify? Talk the fans through a qualifying run here, Sam. It is to me, it's very technical and it's very hard not to be extremely bored.
Well, in this particular case, I will tell you that this car, of all the NASCAR liveries, this particular car at this point, as well as a couple of the Legend NASCARs that, like the Legend ARCA, and a couple of other Legend NASCAR designs, this particular car is probably going to be the most challenging to handle in traffic. There is a lot of play in the suspension in these cars, and so they do move around a little bit in the corners, especially if there's pack racing. Entry is critical at this particular racetrack. I cannot stress enough that drivers in these races that may not understand preload and understand what the car's doing on entry into turns 1 and into turn 3, if they don't understand those dynamics, 1, it cuts down on speed. 2, it actually washes the car up to the car outside of you. And you may see that very well tonight, is that cars that are in pack racing, as they enter into 1 or 3, that they're going to wash up the racetrack, and it'll cause side collisions or contact that could cause wrecks. And this particular car, of all the NASCAR liveries, this car does present a little bit of a challenge in traffic. So the Xfinity car, a lot of the reason that iRacing drivers enjoy this car so much is because it is a little bit more of a challenge. And I could see why you would feel like this particular car, or any car at this track, NASCAR related, would be boring. But even in qualifying, you want to make sure that you keep the car as tight to the yellow line as you can keep it. The other key factor in qualifying in these particular cars is very little wheel movement. You do not want to move the wheel at all. Down the straightaways, you don't want to drift. Any wheel input scrubs the speed. And so that's always a key factor in trying to get a good qualifying lap. Hug the bottom, keep the wheel still, and keep your right foot down to the floor.
Indeed, there's Ted Craven. His qualifying run is complete. Let's find João Guerrera. How about that? Let's take a look at him. Now, Ted was a little bit high. Guerrera is on his second lap, and John is looking for a fast lap here. He's got that super wound up tight. We do have a great crowd, by the way. 20 people already watching, Sam, as we watch João Guerrera.
Oh, this place brings out the fans. It sure does.
It does. I want to thank Donald Green for checking in, Mike George, Ben Summerford. Katie Green, as always, in here cheering on her husband. It's going to be a fun night.
Mike George, our previous winner at Rockingham.
Yeah, he's not able to be with us tonight. So taking it in through the broadcast. There's the lap from João Guerrera, and he goes to 6 quick. Now, you saw Guerrera get down on the flat on the apron. That's not something that you'll see.
I feel like that was a bit of a mistake. I think he scrubbed speed off getting on the apron before the tri-oval. I think you scrubbed speed there.
You may, because it's not banked, of course. There's Kyle Heath. He is sitting on pit lane in the Busch Ice Auburn Tigers first gear racing machine, and I think Kyle is not he's not going to take a lap It says that
Well, he's out of time now.
Yeah,
Lee Campbell actually is the only driver who's got into the 54.2 range.
Yes, he is. Great lap from Lee Campbell. And with that, that is going to do it, Sam, for qualifying. How about that? Kyle Heath.
All right, let's look at this closely. So less than one-tenth of a second separate the top 20 in qualifying.
That's incredible.
That's insane.
That is insane.
So all the folks that have already, and they're still popping in here, the number keeps getting higher of our attendance tonight. We're so glad to have our fans of the AMA. The drivers put on a great show. We appreciate you tuning in to P1 Broadcasting, but this race does keep you on the edge of your seat. It really does keep you on the edge of your seat. For a driver, you either love it or you hate it, but for a fan, it usually does keep your interest.
It most certainly does. On the pole, Lee Campbell, 175.9113. To his outside, Ryan O'Donohue in the 14. Row 2, Nolan Milnes and Christian Light. James Hodgson and Greg Evans are going to make up row 3. Kendall Paul is going to go in 7th. John Guerrera is going to start 8th. Row 9, or starting 9th, Justin Osterman. He's going to be flanked by Jason Heaney in 10th. That'll lead us to 11th. That is Patrick Collins. Troy Carricker is going to run 12th. Michael Moquin, he'll start 13th in the number 8. The 03 of Austin Hund goes 14th. Edwin James 15th, and Sean Merriman, he'll roll 16th. In 17th, John Hutchins, Joseph Klein will be 18th. Corey Crandall 19th, and Braden Langley is going to round out your top 20. In 21st, how about Keith Graham? Brian Sharp starts 22nd. He'll want to watch out for those trees. Trevor Benz, 23rd. Dylan Godnez, he'll go 24th. Zachary Rake, 25th. Ted Craven, the teddy bear, we watched his qualifying run. He's going to be 26th. Mark Owlett, 27th. Donald Green, 28th. And I am not racing. I promise you that, race fans. Kyle Heath.
Nor am I.
Kyle Heath is going to line up. Next to Colby Pierce. Back there, we also have Eric Corder in the field, and there's Eric. 31 cars signed in. The broadcasts do not count. Michael Kirk has not taken his spot on the grid, just so everybody is aware. And we're ready to get this thing fired up and ready to rock and roll, Sam.
I'm excited. There's always this anticipation in the air for these plate track races, and I'm eager to see how things are. If the guys are going to, since there are stages in this race, I would really like to see if the guys will just settle in and not get too racy early. But I will tell you, there's a couple of drivers that I have watched in plate tracks, and they are not ones to sit still. So Nolan Milnes is one, Michael Moquin is another, and I'd be very interested. My dark horse tonight would be Trevor Benz starting back in the back. And so those guys are not afraid to roll the dice, and they are not afraid to try and get their car up to the front. And so I'm excited to see where all that takes us. So to all our fans, to you, Mark, tighten up those belts. Hold the wheel till your knuckles are white, and let's go racing at Talladega.
You talked about it. I wanted to, dark horses, Talladega. Dark horses and Talladega are synonymous. Many drivers have their one and only NASCAR win here. We talked about Cup win here. We talked about Richard Brickhouse,
Ron Bouchard,
Greg Sachs, Ron Bouchard.
Yes.
Phil Parsons.
Bubba Wallace is actually his first win was here.
Bubba Wallace, Phil Parsons. Vinny's little brother. His first win was here.
Yep.
My dark horse pick tonight, remember Daytona? Colby Pierce. Colby came within...
That's a good pick.
Yeah, he came within a couple hundred yards of winning the race at Daytona. If there's a guy that knows how to run these plate tracks, there's a guy who I would love to see win the Talladega 250. It is Colby Pierce. And there they are. We're having... the server has been kind of soft. There was an iRacing outage today, Sam. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that. No,
yeah,
I did not. I did not know that.
About 4 o'clock today, there was the guys, and I heard this.
Green.
I heard this as we go green.
As we go on the green flag.
We are away.
It's going to be it's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse the first lap. Let the car settle in. A little heat getting the tires. Some pushing. It should not be too much, but then of course you will have your aggressive drivers in these particular races who want to get up front and get up front as fast as possible. Katie Green has popped in to root on her hubby.
She has my appreciation for everybody's patience.
Christy Miller Light has jumped in here.
Yeah.
That's Mom. Oh, that's Christian's mom. Welcome, Mom. We're glad to have you.
You know, it's kind of funny. You know Nick DeGroot by chance, Sam? I'm sure you do. Nick's
I do.
Nick's an old school campaigner. He's been around for a long time. One of the top 50 rated drivers in the world. Every time I race on TV, my mom will tune it in, and I'll get a text message.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get a text message from my mom. Is Nick DeGroot in this one? Because I guess during the pandemic she saw him in one of the big races, and so I tell Nick, I tease him every time we race against each other. You know, Nikki, my mom's watching tonight, so your fan club has tuned it in. So if Nick's out there, we love you, man. Look forward to running the Area 51 finale with you Tuesday night. We do have a clean breakaway, and it appears as though our connection issues, whatever those were, have cleaned up. Lee Campbell does hold the lead. He is flanked by Ryan O'Donohue, Nolan Milnes, Christian Light, row 2, James Hodgson, Greg Evans, row 3. And this is going to be like it is all night, folks. You're going to see these cars 2x2, and in some cases 3x3. That is that appears to be the 25 car that was making it 3 wide.
25 Braden Langley. Yeah, he went around the outside of Ted Craven there. Some drivers, I'm guilty of this myself. I just would soon just wait in the back. NASCAR drivers like Denny Hamlin and several others, they like to do the same at plate tracks. They'll just stay in the back, try to avoid the crashes, get out of the chaos that's up front. And some drivers, like you see here, they're a little more spread out in the back of the pack. They would just as soon just keep their nerve calm until the last segment of the race. Whereas some of the drivers that qualified well and got up to the front, they are the ones that really like to mix it up, bump bumpers, and push themselves as hard as they can push themselves the entire event.
Now we're riding on board with Eric Corder. He is shotgun on the field in that Toyota Camry, 31st.
That is a cool sight. I love that
on the event.
That's a
yeah,
good job.
And that's what he's seeing riding along here. You can tell he's off the throttle, about half throttle. One, he's saving some fuel, but the other thing Eric Corder is doing. The other thing Eric Corder is doing right
here.
We're
3 wide, middle pack here. We're 3 wide.
We are indeed. That's the 08 of Dylan Godness. He is in the middle. He's in the sucker hole. He's got the 83, the car numbered 03. Is that Austin Hund to his outside, I believe? Now they all get back. You do not want to be in that middle on worn tires, Sam. That is so difficult to control the car when it's like that.
Late in the run, that's exactly right. Where the fuel load gets light, these cars can get a little dicey and dance around on you a little bit. And Hun really showed a lot of patience there. He saw Dylan was just being aggressive, so he just allows it to happen, just folds in right behind him. And that's just smart driving. This is good. This is exactly what I was hoping that we'd see here at the beginning of the event.
Yes, it is. Greg Evans has fought his way to the lead on the outside of that on the outside line. He's got Christian Light to his inside, John Guerrero is second, and he's flanked by Ryan O'Donohue making up that second row. In fifth place, Jason Heaney. Lee Campbell, the early leader, has dropped back to sixth, your pole sitter. The stages tonight, according to Kendall Paul, 25 and 50, Sam. 25 and 50. So we should have no issues when it comes to fuel in the first two stages. However, fuel strategy and when you pit in that second stage is all important.
Yeah, fuel will be key in the last stage, but I will tell you what will not be a problem tonight, and that is tires. Tires will not make any difference in this particular race. All the drivers during the stage breaks, unless they're just looking for track position, they won't need tires, they'll just need fuel. So tires will not come into play at all.
They will.
So even in the last stop of the race, there will be no tire changes. So you'll see drivers stay out as long as they can, and if you're mid-pack or back, then you'll probably be able to stay out a lap or two longer than the front runners. So that way you can get less time in the pit stall fueling up. So there's going to be a lot of strategy, but let's not get ahead of ourselves from right now.
Well, and just to kind of tell fans what we're talking about, when you pit in that last stage is just as important as anything else. We've seen Daytona 500s, pretty much every restrictor plate race that's been run in the last good while.
And who you pit with.
Yeah, it's when you pit and who you pit with. And so
Yes.
look for those big teams, First Gear, Dark Horse Performance, Black Magic Studios. Look for those big teams to pit together. Because the sooner you pit, the sooner you get out, the sooner you get organized, the faster you're going to be. The guys that stay out the longest are typically the ones that wind up the slowest, and so you're going to want to watch that too. Sam is exactly right. The truck race last fall, the Talladega 200, that somehow I managed to win.
Oh, Godness. Oh, he really sticks it in there. We're less than 10 laps in. They are 3 wide at the front of the field. Dylan Godness saw an opportunity, and now he is in a really tough spot right here. The car on the outside is giving him plenty of room. Oh, he's pushing the issue to the next row.
Yes,
and
he
here
is.
I thought that some other drivers would be aggressive, but Dylan Godness decided he's just not going to wait.
No, and he thumbs Jason Heaney right out of the way, put Dylan Godnez up to 4th now.
Oh, and Heaney's not going to have anything to do with it.
No, and poor
Now,
Greg
this
Evans.
could force a third lane, but Troy Carragher's kind of dictating behind him how this is unfolding. So he's just waiting to see how it plays out with these cars that are 3 wide ahead of him.
He most certainly is, and it appears as though Carragher.
Haney is really in the worst spot.
Yeah.
But it looks like Carragher may be giving him a little room here.
Well, but then you've got Greg Evans and John Guerrero. They're up there.
Wow, he's really pinching him down on the apron.
Yeah, they're in that. Greg Evans is up there along with John Guerrero. Whoa, big bump drive from Dylan Godness. I thought John Guerrero was going to go around. Looking at it, Sam, Greg Evans just playing both sides of the street right here. He's looking in there.
Oh, now we've got somebody that's pulling off down on the apron just to get out of the way. He's had enough of this 3 wide racing early, and what he's doing is he's just falling to the back of the field. It looks like Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yep. Ryan's had
some
enough.
drivers will be that way. Once they see it getting too racy up front and people are taking chances too early, they'll just bow out and they'll say, I'll go to the back and I'll race later.
Yeah, and so when you've got somebody like Dylan Godness who's up here pushing the issue, really, really bump drafting hard, making it 3 wide through the middle, it's 9 laps into 113 laps. I'm definitely of the opinion when it's me in the car, Sam, when I see guys doing that at 10% race distance,
right.
Adios, amigos. You go on right ahead.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I would do the same thing as Ryan O'Donoghue. No, I would feel the same way. I just don't. It's too early for this. I've practiced. I've put a lot of time and effort into this particular race. I really don't want to see it in 10 laps into the event.
No, you don't.
And they're checking up hard in the back of the field. They're checking up.
There they are. They're all kind of wadded up.
A little bit.
Yeah, they're all kind of wadded up back there, and they're trying, the guys that are back there, you're looking at Colby Pierce, Brian Sharp. That's a guy that just desperately needs a finish of any sort. When you get guys back here like that, there's Trevor Benz in the middle, 3 wide.
Now Christian Lyon is going to work his way up to the front here. It looks like Greg Evans went to the high side to try and dictate a little bit of the lines, and Christian Light had a great run, a good push from behind him from Lee Campbell, and now they're 2 wide up front again.
Yes, they are. They'll come back down the backstretch. Even Steven. Greg Evans is the leader, and he's going to get a big shove from John Guerrero. Move those 2 back to the point. Christian Light going to be demoted to 3rd. Lee Campbell runs 4th, and here comes Dylan Godness. If he can get even with that 44, it might be a situation where the outside can really get organized and punch free. There's a huge gap between Lee Campbell and Nolan Milnes, and that really slows. That really slows that inside line down. The other thing is that when you look at these cars, the top line has 7 cars right in a row stacked together. You see the gaps on the inside, fans? That means they're not as organized. That means they're not going to go as fast. It's almost 2 cars, then a car, then 2 cars, then a car on the inside. There's 4 stacked right on top of each other on that high side, and that's going to prevail over time.
Yeah, the tighter the line, of course, especially on the outside, they'll get big runs going down the back stretch and on the front stretch as well, off of turns 2 and turn 4. However, if you pay close attention and watch these plate track races, the inside line gains its advantages on entry into 3 and into 1. So the balance is there, but making sure, as you were saying, Mark, keeping your line organized so that you can take advantage of those big runs and where they come.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of this, we see Dylan Godness. He's moved up. He was very aggressive in moving up earlier. Dylan's kind of chilled out. He got to third in line.
I think he calmed down a little bit. Yeah, I think he got to a place where he wanted to be.
Yeah, he said, okay, I'm up at the front. I think I'll simmer down now. He got the track position he was looking for, and look, we're getting, we're already halfway through this first stage, Sam. It's a situation.
Dylan started 24th. He's our biggest mover of the race. He started in the 24th spot.
Yes, he is, and we got more guys going 3 wide back there. That's the teddy bear, Ted Craven. He throws it in the middle underneath.
And he's not done yet. He's going to go inside of Heaney. I believe that's Heaney there.
Yeah, he went. Well, he tossed it underneath Edwin James. Now he gets underneath Heaney. He's got the 80. He's got the.
Heaney will fall in line right here.
Yeah, he's got Austin Hunt in front of him.
Maybe not. Maybe not. He's got a big run on entry there.
Yeah, he's got Austin Hunt and Troy Carricker in front of him. If the teddy bear can clear Heaney, he might just have gained 2 spots, and there he goes. Yeah. So Christian Light is your leader. Mom's got to be happy with that. Greg Evans is second. He's the deuce is giving Christian the push. I bet you there's a small age difference between the drivers in the 96 and the 2, Sam. Whoa, we got one on the apron.
You sure do. And they're blinking a lot. There seems to be a connection issue there.
That is John Hutchins, and he has hit the inside retaining wall and is parked on the grass. He may be stalled out. John Hutchins, and let's take a look and go back and see what has happened to John.
He blinked completely off of the server for me, and now he's on pit lane.
Yeah, it appears as though he's brought it. He's got it towed or alt F4 or however you want to put it. Here he is. He goes down into turn number 3, and does he get the apron? No, the car just breaks loose with him, Sam. It breaks loose with him, and then he goes down and grabs a piece of the apron.
There was a big checkup. Our field is completely separated now.
And let's get back live, but this is what happened. We'll get back live once we've seen John Hutchins here. He's trying to keep it on the apron, and there it breaks loose. I don't know that he hits anything, Sam.
I wonder if he had some kind of mechanical issue or if the connection issue scared him enough that he just pulled it down.
It could have been, and there was that huge checkup.
Oh, that was okay. Now I see it. On lap 15, Christian Light gets forced into a really, really tough position, and he does everything to try and save the car. They bunch up in 1 and 2. They're able to keep going straight, but wow, what a close call.
Here they were.
Wow.
They were 4 wide. Christian Light got shuffled 4 wide. He's and at that point you're just ping-ponging. Just such a tremendous job to save as much of that race car as he can.
Yes.
But he's going to come down and he's going to get tagged by Austin Hunt. This 00 of Patrick Collins is involved. The 8 of Michael Moquin. They all get down and wadded up on the apron down there. I think that's a blown engine.
Sharp really gets into the back of someone else.
Well, you're trying to just not hit anybody here. That's Colby Pierce that gets tagged by Brian Sharp.
Christian, as I said, Christian Light was just put in a really tough position there, and there's just so little room for error.
No,
and so he's just trying to hold a line the best that he can, but it's just so hard to do that.
Now
Brian Sharp really gets into the back of Colby Pierce right there.
Now
they all keep it straight. They keep the car straight. That's amazing.
Well, and the cool thing is. Well, not cool thing. We've got 2 distinct packs now. The top 12. So Greg Evans back to P12. Justin Osterman. They've broken away. You've got
outside of damaged cars. I don't think anyone's in jeopardy of going a lap down.
I don't think so. I don't think even then, because we're 7 laps to a caution. I don't think even if you've lost the draft, and there's nobody that's alone out there. Michael Moquin is leading the second train. There he is. This is 13th through 20th. Donald Green is the caboose on this one. And then Zachary Wake has a group of another group of cars that are all in line, and that is Wake through Owlette. Only Christian Light and John Hutchins are on pit road. They are the only cars that are out. And look, we're going to have a caution here in
Moquin must have some damage from that incident because they're just spreading out around him.
Yeah, they're trying to.
May not be able to keep. They're just trying to put someone up front that can maintain a decent amount of speed here. So, because they're not going to catch this next pack if they're racing side by side.
They are not.
And now the pack that was behind them is closing in quickly.
Yeah, and you see him in the picture now. See him in the pictures now. The second group, and that's led by Zachary Wake, has caught them. These guys are
definitely all going to be racing together now, and so these two packs in 5 laps they can close the gap.
They can, but then how many of those cars are damaged and so on and so forth. You've got
doing it 3 wide's not going to be the answer. I can tell you that.
You're not going to be able to drag them up there at 3 wide. But hey, look, Brian Sharp, Colby Pierce, they both had heavy contact. They're still just right at the back of this. They're still right at the back of this group.
As well.
Yeah, they're still right at the back of this group. Well, Christian Light's still on pit lane.
Christian Light is actually, he's on the pit road.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, these guys, if they can just hang out for another 5 laps and not blow up, they're going to be in, really good shape, for later on. A caution lap here at Talladega takes roughly 11 years. And so if you've got...
those are dog years.
And it takes a long time. It's at least a couple of minutes. And so, what you're looking at, Sam, even if you've got 3 or 4 minutes of damage, that's not catastrophic here at Talladega, because you're going to get at least 2 cautions. You're going to be able to get all of that fixed. I think you can fix at least 3 minutes under a yellow light, just a regular yellow. Come in, get it all fixed. Accelerate back out. You can catch the field, and then you've got another 2 minutes or whatever, and then you can catch the field again.
Provided it's not engine damage exactly, any body damage can probably be repaired under caution easily.
It brings me back.
Now we see that John Hutchins, for those that may be tuning in for John Hutchins, he's actually called it the night. He's taking the car back into the garage area, and he's disconnected for the evening. He has.
Christian Light remains on pit road under repair.
Somebody's on the apron on the back strip.
It's going to be Sean Merriman. He's going to go to the back. He's had enough. Just save the car. He might actually pull out of the draft, which would not.
Yeah, he'll fall out of this draft easily.
Yeah, and look, with 5 laps to go, even guys that like Austin Hunt and Mark Allowette that are not on the back of that train, they are in no danger of going a lap down. They're only a couple of seconds. They're just a couple of seconds slower than the leaders at this point. So no danger for those guys to go a lap down here with 3 to go until the stage break. And Sam, looks like it's going to come down to a drag race right now between Lee Campbell and Greg Evans. Does John Guerrero, Nolan Milnes, Dylan Godness, James Hodgson have anything for these guys? Or are we going to see somebody like Carricker, Osterman, Heening, Craven, and Edwin James, or Kendall Paul make a run toward the front here with 3 laps to go in the state?
Well, as always in these particular races, with the fewer the laps, whether it's the stage or the checkers, it doesn't matter. The fewer the laps, the tighter the pack gets. Usually there's a little bit of space when they're just riding, but as they get close to the points or the money, they'll start really closing in their ranks and pushing each other. So hold on to your hat. We haven't got to the yellow yet.
My hat is securely fastened, Sam, and I do want to thank everybody. We do have another massive audience here tonight for the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. If you haven't already, fans, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. We are getting close. It was under 30 as of the last time I looked earlier this afternoon. So make sure you do ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, and then you can be notified of all future P1 Broadcasting iRacing productions. You're watching the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series Talladega 250. We are getting close, Sam, to that all-important end of the first stage. Should be just 2 to go this time by.
They're contesting it as hard as they can contest it. These guys are points are important to these drivers, and they want to make sure that they can accumulate as many as they can. Greg Evans, even though he's the points leader, he's proven that he wants to make sure that he gets every possible point that he can accumulate. And Lee Campbell has had a great night tonight. He's been fast, and he's going to fight him for it.
Yes, he is. You know, I mean, these are two very fast guys.
Oh, Dylan, goddamn,
we
he
got a
makes
big one
that
on the
move
back.
again, and it did not pay off.
Big yellow.
Again, he pushed the limit, and he took people with him. Unbelievable. That was crazy, man, just to go into that hole like that. That was a gamble.
Let's go back and have a look.
And now that is the stage break. That is the stage break.
Yep, we're going to get in here tight. We're going to look at the 08 of Dylan Godness.
Who was that to hit the inside retaining wall? My heavens.
Well, we're going to figure it out. Here's Dylan Godness. We're going to get it close. You can see Guerrera and you can see John Guerrera and Greg Evans locked together right there. Here comes Godness.
Oh, he didn't hit it. It looked like Ted Craven.
There goes Godness to the inside. That's a little brave. The hole closed, and now we're ping-ponging together. Everybody is involved in that lead group, I believe, except for Troy Carricker, Jacob Heaney, Edwin James, and Kendall Paul. And then the server blinks. So we're going to...
Well, what we see sometimes in these particular instances, now there's a slight gap there between the lines, and Dylan sees an opportunity to fill that. And the reason he feels the urge to do that is because that is where the most draft is. If you're watching the broadcast, you can see that there's a lane and a half that he could go to the top side, but there is a little bit more draft in the middle. But there's just so little room for error in those particular instances. And Nolan Milnes was there, and once he brings that air pocket in, the other cars start getting affected. So now they're moving, Dylan's moving, and then of course the inevitable making contact and taking out several other cars along the way.
There you go. We're watching it from inside Kendall Paul. Here's Kendall's view of it as he scoots on past. I'm interested to see.
Everyone really cleared this accident with very little damage.
Well, there are some meatballs out there. Greg Evans actually has a meatball, and we're going to go back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to go back and watch.
I was just looking at that. It seemed like it was so innocent, the damage. Oh, he got hit in the front end.
Yeah, we're going to watch it real time. Greg Evans has the lead with about 1.5 miles to pay dirt for some stage points. Here he is. He's got Lee Campbell. That's the car on the inside. We're going to get rid of the scoring
James
tower.
Hodgson really hits him in the front end. I didn't think it was that hard, but wow.
Bam. There it is, and that may be all it takes. I don't.
Because he really didn't hit anything else.
No, he took a good lick to the front, and he's already punched out of the deuce. So
he did.
Greg Evans is out of the Talladega 250. Of course, locked in on points. He's not going to be worried about locked in on points. He's not going to be.
Can you imagine that though? You're leading going into the first stage. You're leading this thing, and now you're done. You're done.
That's
nothing of your doing, and your night is over, completely over.
Yeah, it's sometimes it is hard to take for sure. We are going to go ahead and sometimes we are going to go ahead and get the scoring pylon back up. So nobody has pitted. Lee Campbell, your leader. James Hodgson second. John Guerrero third. Justin Osterman runs fourth. Dylan Godness is fifth. Troy Carricker, Jason Heaney, Ted Craven, Edwin James, and Kendall Paul are going to be the stage, and we're going to have everybody come down pit road. Now, if you were involved in that crash and you got sideways, Sam, are you taking tires, or are you we still no tires?
Oh, you've got tires to burn here, of course. Yeah, if I slid those tires and overheated them, by all means I would take on tires. No question whatsoever.
Love this view, Sam. This is a drone that is right on the pit exit line, and it's going to follow Lee Campbell right into his pit box. Lee Campbell does go up on the jack, so he's decided to take at least rights. We'll see if he does lefts. He's going to do all 4. Ryan O'Donohue just slide into his pit box. Guerrera and Lee Campbell going to race it off pit lane, and Lee Campbell is going to come out your winner in the drag race. I do want to kind of think, Sam, it appears as though most everybody did take tires, and so could it be a situation where
over the course of 113 laps, if you have tires, I would change them at both stage breaks. I would not have a bit of a problem changing them both at the first 2 stage breaks. The last pit stop, the money pit stop, no, I wouldn't change those tires at all.
Well, and what I'm saying is it could be that you need enough gas that it doesn't make any time difference, is what I'm getting at. You may need to take enough fuel that it doesn't save you any time. You don't need
Oh, absolutely not. No tire time difference. No.
Yeah, so you might as well, if you got them on the pit box, you might as well take them, right?
Yes. Oh, no question whatsoever. If you have those available, and you're not going to use all 3 sets unless you're just in 3 separate instances and burn the tires up.
You are 100%.
You've got plenty. You got tires to spare.
You are right. You
and
are.
Even let's say there's a late race. Let's say there's a late race caution, Mark, and you bring up a good point. Let's say there's a late race caution, and you did not change tires at your, at the money stop or whatever. Even if a car comes down pit lane with say 10, 12, 15 laps to go, and he comes down pit lane and puts on new tires, he's still not going to be any faster than the other cars that are in the draft around him. There may be a little bit more grip in the corners, but it will not be a speed difference.
You got it. While we're under this long caution, we're going to go ahead. Let's go ahead. I'm going to bring Kendall Paul up here. Kendall Paul, you got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Mark. What's going on?
Just real quick, you had a ringside seat for that affair down the backstretch there. What did you see? How did you avoid it? You were one of only 3 cars in that lead pack that did not get a piece of the accident. And what's the strategy from here? I'll give you the backstretch and I'll put you back.
Yeah, all I saw was a lot of wrecked cars and smoke, and I applied the brakes, saw a hole, and put the car there, and we were clean and green through there. that was an interesting moment. No damage on the car, so that's good. Strategy now is just to kind of ride here and try to get some more stage points. With, of course, missing last week and everything, we want to get as much points as possible in case we get a new winner here. We're only taking 6 here the first season, and week 14 at Nashville is our cutoff race for the first half of the regular season. So we're going to try to get the playoff lock in. So trying to accumulate as many points as possible. So that's the mission right now. Let's see how it works out. We'll see what this restart does, and we'll go from there.
All right, we'll get you back in the Dark Horse Performance. Chat, is it the regular? You want regular 2 or 3? You tell me.
Do 3, please.
Do 3, please. Kendall Paul goes back to his Discord, Sam. That is the man that runs third. Always an interesting perspective to talk to a guy who just dodged a big wreck, isn't it?
What? I'm sorry. I was looking at some stats here. What was your question, Mark?
No worries. We just talked to Kendall Paul. I said it's always interesting to talk to a guy just fresh off of having dodged a multi-car wreck.
Well, I was going to ask if he was wearing the brown suit at that particular moment.
He pitted.
But I was talking with Greg Evans in the infield care center, and just trying to get a little input from him. But I can't repeat. It wasn't belligerent, but he wasn't happy. So.
Green flag.
I can imagine not. We get the green flag back up in the air. Stage 2 begins.
And now this is going to be a 20 lap run, a 20 lap shootout. Some drivers may want to go ahead and push up toward the front if they're aggressive. They want to run up front for the last stage. This may be their opportunity to do so. 20 lap shootout to kind of get into your position for the final stage.
It is indeed one of the things I'd like to note just make note, the number 13 of Kyle Heath. He started in the back. He's moved up. He's moved up to the 5th row. He's now in 9th, and so that didn't take long, did it, Sam?
Well, long for Kyle, because Kyle is usually always so fast. So this really is showing a lot of patience on Kyle's part. Of course, I think he did get caught up in that big checkup in 1 and 2 with the Christian Light situation, and it checked him up and got him in the second pack for that first stage. Ooh, and someone washes up the racetrack and forces Nolan Milnes up toward the wall, and that really cost Nolan a lot of position.
Well, and there's still 3 wide back there, Sam. We're not out of the woods yet. Here we see Keith Graham.
That's Trevor Benz behind Nolan. He's a great pusher. So I would think Trevor's going to be able to get him back up where he needs to be.
And how about Donald Green giving it a good ride? Donald Green moves his car right in.
He's in 14th.
Yeah, he's in 14th. Give Donald 14th. Make that 12th. Look at that 6 go.
He's not done yet.
No, he's not. He might crack the top 10 here. He's going to pull up next to Michael Mulquin. My goodness. Do not give.
We're just bragging on you, Donald.
No.
We don't want to talk about any incidences.
Do not give the broadcast crew a heart attack. We do want to thank everybody that's in the audience that's watching. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button. Ring the bell to subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting Network. We are so close to that elusive 1,000 mark, and we know that about half of you have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't done it, make sure you ring the bell. Let's get that number over 1,000 so we can see my buddy Kyle Clinworth paint your name on the side of his Indy car. We are 31 laps complete. Stage break at 50. We're coming to get lap 32. You are watching the middle of the Hornet's Nest. It is pretty calm for the first 3-4 rows, Sam. Battle.
I really think that some drivers that want to be up front for the final stage are going to start pushing. Now you're going to see already.
Well, there they come, Joseph Klein
up top.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's
my
Joseph
goodness.
Klein at the head of that line, and they had a lot of momentum with Heaney and Benz behind him. Now Michael Mulquin has still 3 wide going down the back stretch. It's going to get interesting here in this second segment.
Yeah, Kyle Heath is going to swap out. He's going to go to the top. He's going to get out of that middle. It is going to be very difficult. Ted Craven, he almost gets the
had an idea for just a moment. Wow, that was close.
He made it.
And Gotness slams the door on him.
Well, and I think that was a move there from John Guerrero to kind of cut him some slack, or that might have been a mess. Ted Craven, he's going to slide in a second. Meanwhile, they are 3 wide forever deep here at Talladega, and this is kind of what you're used to seeing here. When these guys want to go, it gets like this, and it gets like this quick, and there's nowhere you can go to hide now. Even the guys that are in the back, if you're Brian Sharp and you're trying to hang out in the back, you're 23rd, you're barely a second behind the leader. There's just nowhere to go, nowhere to hide right now. And if somebody makes a mistake in the middle of this thing, it's going to wipe out a bunch of cars. You're seeing 3 distinct lanes now. The bottom has the advantage, but Sam, it's not going to stay like that forever. Here comes John Guerrero, and he is side drafting Ted Craven awfully hard. Now they're going to touch.
Oh, they make contact there off of turn 4. Now they're 3 wide. Joseph Klein, who's already been up top, he's got a little help from Crandall. Is that Crandall in the 35?
That is Corey Crandall, yes, sir, in the 35. And they're going to go 4 wide momentarily here. Ted Craven and John Guerrero have bounced off each other for about the last 7.5 miles. They continue to do so. John Guerrero is trying to side draft Ted Craven to pull him away from Dylan Godnez, but he just can't.
Keith Graham now shoots the gap in the middle. He's going to try and catch a little bit of air off of John Guerrero's car. Joseph Klein's trying to deter that.
Well, and Keith Graham, you're looking at him. Where do you go, Sam? You're in the middle, 3 wide. You can't go to the bottom. You can't go to the top. The car's moving. You
just have to hold a steady line. You have to hold a steady line.
Well, and that's hard to do.
Because the car's moving. A lot of people don't realize how much the car is moving. At some point, you should show the in car there, and you'll see the cars up ahead of Keith Graham here, and the way that they're bouncing and moving back and forth in their lane. So it takes a lot of attention, a lot of prowess to be able to hold that car in a 3 wide condition when the air around it is moving so much. These cars have a lot of suspension that causes that movement. These guys are really racing for a second stage. They are really going at it.
Yeah, 15 to go in that stage. We're on board Sean Merriman, and it gives you an idea of how much these cars move as they slam into the banking one more time. Merriman right here, just to give you an idea, 182 miles an hour, 3 wide. He is
Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, he's 3 wide. He's about 4 rows deep.
Atlanta traffic.
But look at the run he gets up that middle.
Oh, they're really close again, and you see Ted Craven and Ted missing the preload going into the tri-oval. The car gets extremely light there in the tri-oval. It cannot handle hardly any contact whatsoever, and so it's so risky of having an incident happen in that tri-oval, because if you touch someone the wrong way right there where the car is so light, it could cause an entire wreck in the field. It is such an edgy place to be on the inside.
Yes, it is. We're gonna look out the door of the teddy bear. This is Ted Craven. He's got the number 7 of Joseph Klein to his outside. Jason Heaney.
That was a big push from Heaney there. It kind of ran Crandall up toward the wall.
I was hoping that we'd see more of that door slam, and he was doing with John Guerrera, but Craven not quite anymore. Guerrera is getting awful close.
John is the guy in a field that really tries to push the side draft.
Yeah.
He's the one that really believes in that. Oh, and he gets a shove from Joseph Klein and just does save it. On the backstretch, wow. If Dylan Godnez had not been there to straighten his car out, I don't know that he would have saved that.
No, he wouldn't have, and John Guerrero is gonna cycle back off the first 3 or 4 rows. You're right, he is really leaning on that side draft. He and Ted Craven have about wore the right door off of Craven's car and the left door off of Guerrera, but they're gonna go back to 3 wide one more time. Godnez gets a shot from Craven.
Godnez is not going to allow Joseph Klein to get a lap lead here, as he goes right back down to the bottom, and now there's a big run on the outside with Corey Crandall out there, and he's getting a big push from Heaney.
Yeah, not this one.
If that outside line gets organized, they can really, really get the runs coming off the corners.
They can, but you got some fast hot rods on that inside line. You've got Dylan Godnez down there. You've got Ted Craven, the pole sitter. Lee Campbell is down there, as is the car of Kendall Paul. He's down there. So you've got some fast cars on that bottom line. It's just a matter of getting them organized. Meanwhile, there's no organization or disorganization about it. Dylan Godnez smokes the rear of Joseph Klein and gets him a shot, and we've got trouble. Brian Sharp hard in the wall. Are we going to stay green? That's the question. Engine clearly blown on that car.
Surface.
Yeah, he's going to get it to pit lane. That's a tough break for Brian Sharp, and let's...
That was it. Yeah, that was Edwin James. It looks like he just gets right up against the wall and gets and loses a little momentum, and then he gets touched from behind by Michael Kirk.
And the result...
That came across right into Brian Sharp.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Sharp...
Boy, he made some serious contact.
Yes, he did. Meanwhile, everybody else keeps on trucking. Looking for the 46 of Edwin James. He got going again, but he has lost the draft, Sam. Edwin James is about 18...
he decided to take the John Deere route.
Well, I mean, that might have been the only.
Well, that's the only option
the only
he
choice.
had
Yeah,
at that particular point. Yeah,
it was the only option he had. But poor Edwin James. I mean, he's out here now, 18 seconds off the pack. Edwin James he's going to be in the danger zone. His last lap was a minute. Leaders are running 51.6. Another car out there that may be in some trouble is Nolan Milnes. Milnes last time through 54.634. What he needs is for Edwin James to tuck in behind him. But that's the distance. And right now, I think Nolan Milnes might be trying to wait on Edwin James. Like, hey, come on, buddy, you're going to have to get up here. We're going to have to work together. We're going to go a lap down. And there he goes. You hear him pick the throttle back up. because he knows James is coming. So that's actually a smart bit of That's a smart bit of racecraft there from Nolan Milnes to know, hey, the only way we're going to survive here is if I back up and we work together. And we do apologize.
I noticed in the chat that Shelly Botek is here, and she's rooting on Troy Carricker, and we're so glad to have you, Shelby. Welcome to the broadcast. We do know that there are some audio and video issues with the broadcast tonight, and we're contributing that to the iRacing incident that happened to the servers today. And now we're wrecking on the front stretch again. This time Dylan Godnez is involved. Ed Craven is involved. They're off the racing surface. Lee Campbell is involved. No caution, no caution. Everyone's able to get their car straightened back out and going down the front stretch. Ted Craven is still trying to save it. He's not on the racing surface yet. Now he's back onto the track. Wow, I can't believe we didn't get a caution, but still, everyone is still racing.
They are indeed. We're going to go back and take a look. We've got the camera on Dylan Godnez and Ted Craven. I believe, no, he's not. He's still good. I thought for a second it was going to flash up a black flag for him unless it got cleared. But here we go. Here's Godnez. Craven is right behind Klein.
Yeah, Lee Campbell is on the inside of Godnez, and Godnez kind of drops it below the white dotted line. There's some specific lanes here, and so he's just kind of closing in on the bottom line, maybe to get a little side draft, and then that allows Lee Campbell to get into his left rear, and that collects Ted Craven as well.
Craven's going to go through the pit lane. That's why he had the temporary black flag.
That is a penalty because he crossed through the pit lane where the cone is.
Now
that is an unsafe pit entrance.
It is. Now in the AMA, they will clear that.
They cleared that penalty. They cleared that.
Yeah, they clear that penalty if it's an accident through pit lane. They'll clear it for you. Shelby Carricker, of course, cheering on Troy. We do apologize, like Sam said, for the audio issues. We know that there've been some issues with the iRacing servers today. They actually took them down about 4 o'clock. Took everything down about 4 o'clock. We're just happy to be here. I ran the IMSA Historic Series earlier, Sam, and that's a special event that's coming up. You gonna contest the Road America 500, my man?
Man, I sure do love the GT cars. I love racing the GT cars.
But
I really do enjoy it.
But would you want to race an Audi from 1989 as a GT car? That's the question.
Oh well, absolutely. I've done that car.
It is fun. So Seb Alexander and myself, we're going to do it as a team. Now, the Road America 500 is unique among sports car races in that, whoa, we got the 35.
Oh, big move by Corey Crandall right there. I don't even think the spotter had the word clear out of his mouth.
I don't think the spotter had ever said car inside by the time he had himself cleared. We continue to.
Wow, that was close.
We continue green. Austin Hund. Well, never mind. Ted Craven and Edwin James and Nolan Craven, James, and Milnes have now hooked up, and so they're back going together. That is the closest group to going a lap down right now. Thank you so much, Shelly, for the super chat. We definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that from you. Looking at it.
She changed her name to Carricker.
She did. But there we go. There's Troy. He's running along in sixth, just right there on the cusp. But we got 5 laps to go before the end of the stage. And Sam, when there's points or money available,
again, the driver's testosterone takes over.
It does. Thank you so much, Ben, for letting us know about the audio. We know there's some issues with the servers today. We're doing the absolute best that we can, and so we definitely appreciate you on that one. You've also got Indiana.
But the real show is not necessarily with us. The show's on the racetrack.
No, you don't want to hear us anyway. As I was saying, Sam, the Road America 500. So Seb Alexander and I from Indy Alliance, we're gonna team up and do that race. I think you should run. I want to see Sam in a 1989 Nissan GTP that goes.
Oh my heavens!
That goes from 0 psi to 100 psi of boost in the snap of a finger. you talk about a race car that is trying to kill you. That one's it. But it's been a lot of fun. I was running the.
It's iconic. The car is iconic. It really is iconic.
Yeah, I mean it's the quote that I recall about those '80s turbo cars actually came from Gerhard Berger. He was talking about the BMW turbo in F1, and he said, you get to the end of the Bosch curve at the old Österreichring in Austria, and there's like the straightaway was like a mile long, and he said, you're sitting on 1,500 horsepower, and you're sitting on 1,500 horsepower, and there were no boost caps then, and those things would get up to 5 bars, so 160 psi, and he said it felt like you were sitting on a rocket. He said the other thing was if you were in a corner and it went to positive pressure unexpectedly, you would just spin the car, because they would go from like 600 horsepower to 1,200 in an instant, and you just spin it, but it's so much fun managing that car. It's like trying to ride an angry bull that's been drinking drinking Monsters all day.
That's really drinking Monsters all day.
It is insane. Troy Carricker, he's got it in 6th. Sam, are they going to behave themselves coming to get this one, or are we going to see some more wild action?
Well, I'm a little surprised that they kind of backed out of the 3 wide racing, and they've kind of settled in where they're at. Some drivers may be content. And about the time I say that, we see Trevor Benz go to the top, and it looks like he's going to get a little bit of help from behind. Shelby, we are completely understanding of the situation. We're really sorry if the audio is cutting in and out. We're more than anything else, we are super glad that you chose to tune in to the race. And Troy has been running a spectacular event. He has been up front most of the night, minding his business and minding his time. And we're hoping that will pay off in dividends for him. And now we see the 53 coming up the middle as he makes contact. Oh my heavens, who was that? That was
50,
Justin Osterman.
Yeah, 53.
That's the first time we called Justin's name tonight.
It is. Jason Heaney's got the lead from Joseph.
He gets into the back of, Colby Pierce is who he got into the back of.
And those are teammates. Remember, we've got a race toward the finish line. Troy Carricker, he's going to pull it 3 wide up to the second row. He's got some help from the 54.
They're wrecking! They're wrecking!
Caution is out.
Keith Graham is involved. Justin Osterman is involved.
My goodness gracious!
This has collected several cars.
Yes, it has. Let's go back and kind of.
Whoever was behind Keith Graham, that's Braden Langley. Braden Langley here.
Yeah, so there's where it starts. So Braden Langley gets into the right rear of Keith Graham. Nowhere for Justin Osterman to go, and now the track is blocked. Here comes Colby Pierce involved. The number 3 of Trevor Benz gets hit.
Oh, no. This can't be. Who is that?
Hard.
That's the 15.
Now
that's 15 of Zachary Wake.
It is. Now the one that
Justin Osterman, Colby Pierce, Trevor Benz. 00 Patrick Collins is involved in this as well. And then the one that seemed to receive little to no damage in all of this is Braden Langley.
Yeah, let's I kind of want to go back and have a look at it through the perspective of Kyle Heath. So this is on board Kyle.
I'd be interested to see from the cockpit of Justin Osterman's vehicle or his car. Because once Braden gets to the outside of Keith is really hugging the bottom line. He's right on the yellow line. You really can't see it because Justin had already gotten past them in the cockpit, so you really couldn't see. It was very close for Braden Langley to try and get a side draft at that particular juncture. Just too close. I didn't see any net code here. It looks like straight contact.
Yeah, let's get another view on it from the P1 airship. Here is the 25 of Braden Langley. He's got, so here it comes. So here's what you're gonna have a look at. This is the stage, by the way. Keith Graham is in the front, and Kendall Paul is to the outside. Kendall Paul is going to go on. You see Troy Carricker is going to pull up 3 wide, try to go for the lead, and then it ensues behind him. Hard impacts for a number of cars. That is the 15 of... My goodness. I can't read numbers today. It's the 15 car.
Just looking at this particular incident, it looks as though Braden really gets a big run on Keith here, and just to keep from hitting Keith too hard, he pulls the car a little bit outside of the 09 in order not to hit him too hard or bump him and get him out of shape. And pulling the car to the outside of Keith Graham, he pulls alongside of him and catches his right rear.
Indeed. And so we are under cautions, and that was right at the stage break anyhow, Sam. Everybody has made their stops. We do have several cars on pit lane under repair. Trevor Benz is going to get the speeding ticket for too fast entering, and so Trevor Benz has the black flag. Meanwhile...
He has extensive damage from that incident, though.
Yeah, and it could be he doesn't have a meatball. The only meatball out of that was Justin Osterman, and Justin has chosen to respect the meatball, and he has pulled that car into pit lane. Keith Graham has punched out of the 09. Colby Pierce, Dylan Godnez, Trevor Benz, Edwin James, Austin Hund all sit on pit road under repair, as does Brian Sharp and Michael Kirk. Now, Sharp has been there for 13 laps, 26 laps for Michael Kirk, and so those 2 cars are pretty much out of it. I think they're staying in the server just to watch, which is very common. Let's see if we can't bother a driver real quick here for a couple of minutes.
I don't think these guys can get 60 laps out of a tank.
I don't think they can either. We'll leave it here.
Even in the draft, I don't believe that they'll be able to get that. So
no, you're gonna have to have a splash of gas. I think the most you can probably get is 40, maybe. And that's running around in the draft half throttle. Certainly, if you're the leader, you're not going to be able to make it. Then again, if you're the leader and you stop, and everybody else makes it, that didn't do any good. I don't think we're going to see that. We're going to see an entire run of green flag racing, Sam. That would be
no, it's not likely.
Because it's essentially.
I will give them a lot of credit because during that lap run of 3 wide racing, for the most part, they did a great job, and so I'm eager to see if they can maintain that kind of prowess for the rest of the event. But we'll see.
Yes, indeed. We're going to get on board and ride with the pace car. Sam, I can never remember what the pace car driver's name is. Everybody knows it's well. That's where
it's
you see
Onion Head.
Well, there he is. There he is.
Top 09.
Isn't he the one that wrecked the pace car? or was that Brett?
I think that was Brett.
My goodness gracious. He'll never live that down either.
I believe Top 09 is actually the driver of the pace car now.
No, but I mean in the sim, right? 'Cause you've got Barney.
Oh, does he have a name? I did not know that. That's interesting.
Well, we know Barney is the flagman.
Oh, I see. Those are details about iRacing that I clearly did not. I do good just to focus and concentrate behind the wheel when I'm driving.
Let's see. We are going to go back to green flag action.
We are going to go back to green. Now you're researching it. Now you're looking it up. I know you are. You can't stand it.
I can't. I know he has a name.
Your propensity and desire for history and information is unrivaled, Mark. I appreciate you so much. And now we're back under green. We're back under green at Talladega. Jason Eady takes the lead. And now we see Michael Moquin rear his number 8 up to the front. And Carricker, Shelby, is now pulling up into the 3rd spot as they're all lined up on the inside. cars on the outside?
The answer is we don't know. The name of the pace car driver. I could have swore during COVID they named him, but I could have been wrong. Love the speed shot from Whiplash Sim Cams. My goodness. Awesome.
Big run for Michael Moquin there. Michael has been amazingly quiet tonight. He's been steady and quiet. Usually, I really would have thought that he would have really charged to the front, but he has methodically made his way up here, and now he leads this race. John Guerrero, actually now he's still practicing his side drafting through the corners, keeping the driver on the inside line, honest on the bottom. Trying to get a little help here from Corey Crandall.
Indeed, indeed. Moquin is the leader on the inside. He's got John Guerrero.
Well, that's not a good place to push, Corey. That's not a good place to push. Wow, the car gets so unsteady right there.
Yeah, there's an art to it. So it's okay to lock the bumper. The bumpers on these cars, if I remember correctly, Sam, they don't match, and so you can.
And you want to hit square. You really do want to hit square.
Yeah, you can lock them up going down a straightaway. You do not want to lock bumpers in the corners, and you absolutely. And thank you so much, Shelby, one more time for the super chat. That's she's so awesome, Sam.
Shelby, where have you been all these races?
But there's an art to it. So you can do it down the back straight. The worst place is, and Sam, you'll back me up on this. The worst place is through the tri-oval because you think you can, but these cars get so light.
Light, yes.
Yes, they do. Light.
And most drivers that are on iRacing, the majority of racers that race these plate tracks, they know do not push through the tri-oval. You just can't push through the tri-oval. It's too risky. And a lot of cars on the bottom anyway, they will drift up there and cause contact. It's just too risky in that particular position with the car losing so much of its weight and downforce through the tri-oval.
Absolutely.
Now you see where Jason Heaney is in the corner. You'll see Michael Moquin just kind of drift up about a half of a car width in order to discourage that outside line from getting a big run. And Jason Heaney gets onto the left rear bumper of Michael Moquin, and that's risky because if he hits him at just the right at the right pace, the right amount of pressure, it could send Moquin right down into the infield.
Watching off the back of John Guerrera, just so that you know that our fans can see just what this looks like. My goodness gracious, they're still getting after it, Sam. You've got Moquin Heaney, then John Guerrero, Joseph Klein, Corey Crandall. They're going so fast I can't even call their name. Troy Carricker runs sixth on the outside, but here we go.
I can tell you the driver with the biggest smile on his face right now. I can probably with accuracy tell you who has the biggest smile on their face right now and is very excited. And that's Donald Green, who is now in 8th spot, and he's on 4th car on the outside line. And Donald's been really looking forward to this race, and I'm sure that he has got a big smile on his face, and he's eager because of where he's running right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you Donald Green is having the time of his life. He's able to show some speed for one of the first times this season. He's had some awful luck, Sam.
Really tough breaks. Yeah, really tough breaks. If you pay a close attention to his racing line, he is really giving a ton of room to the cars to the bottom. He's really trying to be careful and preserve the car here. He's very mindful that he wants to finish this race. He wants to finish well. You can just tell the posture of the car and where he's running, that how really careful he's trying to be with the race car tonight.
Yes, he is, and it's it's showing. He's running right in front of Nolan Milnes. Of course, Nolan was involved in one of those big wrecks earlier today, and so Nolan Milnes, we're showing him in 11th spot. He's right behind Donald Green, 8th or 9th, depending on where he crosses the next scoring loop in front of either Kendall Paul. He's got James Hodgson down there, Nolan Milnes behind him. He's got Troy Carricker right in front of him, and so we've got several members of our audience. Their husbands are in the mix at the front of this field. Donald Green runs along in 9th. Troy Carricker is in 7th. We've got.
That's okay, Shelby. There's probably some COD in my near future as well. So,
am I the only one that doesn't play COD, Sam? You know, I challenge. So it's kind of funny. We're going three wide.
Three wide.
Nolan Milnes slides it down. He's going to go 3 wide.
Milnes, he's going to push it there too. This puts Donald Green on the outside. All he needs to do is just hold a steady line up against the wall. He should be fine. Now Milnes will get a big run through the middle here. He catches a little air off of John Guerrera. Joseph Klein may want to shut that down, but yes, he will. He'll drop right down into that middle lane and leave Troy Carricker all alone on the outside.
Well, Troy Carricker may have some help in the form of Donald Green and the 83, I believe is.
Oh, now Kyle
Austin
Heath
Hunt.
makes it 3 wide as he goes and follows Nolan Milnes through the middle.
So here comes the 13. He's going to come through the middle.
Now this top line is organized. Look how tight that line is right there.
Yes, they are. That is.
Guerrero would serve. Oh, he's that window closed. Merriman has filled that now. Oh, and now he jumps out of line at the top side. Oh, so close. Joseph Klein really, really getting on the door of Guerrero.
Yes, they are. So you've got the Klein, Milnes, Heath,
Look how
Troy
tight that top
Carricker is
line
up there.
is,
The teddy bear,
Mark.
Ted Craven.
Look how
Yeah,
tight.
yeah, they are. They are right together, and we're going to keep the camera right on them. They've kind of got John Guerrera stuck in the sucker hole. He has no help behind him. The nearest car to him.
Oh, they make contact again. Corey Crandall, John Guerrera. They make contact again.
Yeah, John Guerrera has been doing a lot of tight bump drafting, and you got to remember, you know, we're at laps to go now, not laps complete. We're at 52 to go. It might not be the time to be that tight, but so far they're getting away with it. He and Ted Craven earlier, I bet they slammed doors at least 24 times while they were running together. I mean, it was 3 or 4 times a lap.
I'm curious as to how long Jason Heaney can keep pushing Michael Moquin as hard as he's been pushing him. Eventually, that he needs to make sure that he watches his water temperature, because if you push too much, that water temperature will climb right through the roof. And in these particular cars, you can blow the motor quickly.
Well, he's off of him, so we're watching off the back of Michael Moquin. Jason Heaney is not locked. They're not locked together. Meanwhile, I do want to call your attention, Sam, to the left front and left side of the number 59. It looks like it's been in a filming session for Days of Thunder down there. But yeah,
that car looks like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Bo and Luke might have taken that for a jump over Roscoe's Cruiser. It does though. I mean, it's all beat up.
He's definitely used up a lot of that car tonight riding that side draft. There's a difference between side draft and sanding your car down to the middle.
You know, we talked about sandblasted cars last week.
Big run here from Klein. Big run from Klein. It just seems like no one wants to push Guerrera. Guerrera's just not giving that middle lane up. He's just not doing it.
Well, and could it be, whoa, awfully close there. Can he get down? He's probably clear, but John Guerrera does not drop down to the bottom.
He's had many opportunities to drop that car to the bottom, but he will not do it. He stays in that line. Big run up the middle there from the 46 as he tucks in behind Nolan Milnes. And that's going to shuffle Kyle Heath to the outside. And Troy Carricker now is just trying to find his way back to where he was. He's gotten shuffled from all the way from third at the beginning of this particular restart, and now he's shuffled back into the field. I'm sure he'll find his way back up front, but the 46 of Edwin James is now making him getting a push from Kyle Heath on the outside. There's not a lot of help out there.
No,
I will say that the high line is not going to get the momentum that it needs as long as Guerrera runs that middle line.
Well, and here's the thing: you mentioned, guys might not be willing to help John Guerrera. He's sanded down quite a few cars himself, and so
that damage did not come to his car by itself. That's
no,
right.
and so if
probably rubbed some drivers wrong.
Pun intended.
I'm sorry. Sorry. That was so bad.
No, but it's true, Sam. And that's the thing. That's the thing that people that people should realize that watch these. It's just like real life. You run with you when you get down to the end of these things. Just as in life, you run with who you can trust. And if a guy's been laying on the side of you for the entire event, you probably don't trust him. And so,
well, it gets annoying. It
right.
really does get annoying.
It's kind of like
it gets into your head after a while.
It's kind of like we're running that 40-minute IMSA historic race earlier, and there is a place at Road America for those of you out there who are not familiar with road races. It's called the Kink. Right? In a GTP car, that corner it's a flat-out flick right-hander about 160 miles an hour. The GTO car, the modern GT3 class, back then GTO, they're doing about 110 through there. And so it's kind of an unwritten rule. If you're a prototype, you do not try to pass a GT3 there because they have to use up the entire road to get through that corner. You don't have to. And so if you catch them wrong, you take your lumps, you lift, you follow them through, you pass them after that corner. There were guys screaming in that event tonight. Hey, if you do that in the 500 tomorrow, you won't make it out the other side because the GTO cars will not lift. They can't. And it's kind of an etiquette thing, and one of those etiquette things is.
It's courtesy, a driver courtesy.
Yeah, it's a driver courtesy, and one of the etiquette things is yes, these cars do side draft. There's a time and a place, and if you get guys that are running the wrong way, they're side drafting you, with 100 laps to go. Yeah, I'm probably not going to help that guy. Or I might think twice about helping that guy.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got guys like Troy Carricker. He's back here in 10th. He's been giving everybody plenty of room. Right, not laying on anybody, not side drafting anybody. Same thing with the 6th.
He's just racing smart. He's one of those drivers like Donald Green who just wants to have a good finish. He's trying to give room, but he wants to be racy all the same.
Yeah.
Joseph Klein has finally made his way up to the front. As hard as he's fought on the outside, he finally found his way in front of the 8 of Michael Moquin.
Yeah, and
that hasn't stopped some of these other drivers from wanting to get up there as well.
Yeah,
a lot of times it's this weird seesaw game where the outside line will get big runs, and eventually the car that is in front of the outside line may clear the inside line, and he'll drop to the bottom, and then the outside has to reorganize and then push someone else up there, and then they'll drop down. And it's just where drivers just won't get to the front of the field. And another thing that I've noticed, Mark, and I've completely forgot, that as the fuel load gets lighter on these cars, they do get precariously more slippery in contact and in the corners. They will get a little lighter and a little bit looser. And so as these laps wind down and we get close to green flag stops, you could very well see some of the drivers really start working the wheel even more than what they had earlier in the event, simply because that lighter weight on the tires frees the car up even more, especially off of entry and middle off.
Yeah, it changes the aerodynamic profile of the car, and we've talked about that on non-restrictor plate tracks, but it's worth talking about it here too. Fuel has weight. A gallon is 4 to 6 pounds, and so if you're on a light tank, and your car and these cars hold what, Sam? How many? 22 gallons? Is it? Help me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 22. Is it not? 20.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 80 to 100 pounds of fuel. Well, if you've only got a couple of gallons in the tank, you tell me if you go from carrying 100-pound...
You lose that ballast.
You lose it, and there's not as much weight on the rear tires. It changes the aero platform of the car. It makes it more nose heavy.
And how much grip you have on the rear tires.
Yeah. there's not enough weight on the rear tires, etc. It changes the whole profile of the car, and it becomes very difficult to handle. The other thing is you don't get much tire wear here, but what you do get is heat. And so as the tires heat, they do get more slippery. They don't, again, they don't change tread levels. It's not like you're wearing through them like you would at Darlington or Rockingham or Charlotte, but it sure as heck get hot. Joseph Klein is your leader. Edwin James has fought himself back up to second. Moquin and Guerrera make up row 2. Jason Heaney and Kyle Heath are on row 3. Nolan Milnes runs along in 7th. He's got Sean Merriman and Ted Craven. The Teddy Bear has made his way back up to 10th. And Troy Carricker, James Hodgson, they're going to run back here in...
Trying to listen in race chat here. Joseph Klein is trying to give out some instructions as they're starting to pull up on Lee Campbell here. This is always a very a tense moment when the lead pack begins to catch lap cars. The lap cars, usually it's very important that they communicate with the leaders and let them know where they're going to be. Typically at the high line is where you want to stay so that the field can pass you on the low side, and that's exactly what Lee Campbell is doing here. And so there's some communication there to make sure that Lee keeps it on the top so that the field doesn't lose any momentum here and that they can clear him easily.
Yes, he does. Great work from Lee Campbell to keep it on the high side. Just a couple more cars. He's going to try to slide down in front of the 0-3 of Austin Hunn so that Lee Campbell can maintain his position in the pack, and he's going to do that. Meanwhile...
Corey Crandall again. He's done that several times.
Whoa, we've got contact. We've got big contact.
He goes into the corner and doesn't he doesn't time his preload correctly. So when he goes into the corner, the car washes up the racetrack. And boy, he just about caused a big incident there.
Well, and that was a big checkup. Kyle Heath, he backed it up, got a shot from Nolan Milnes, who got a shot from Ted Craven, who got a shot from Troy Carricker, and the big loser in all of that was the car that hit Troy Carricker. You can see it visibly, the damage on the back of that 94. Now that's not going to hurt Carricker. As a matter of fact, a lot of these guys would prefer if the rear bumper would just come all the way off. But the car that hit him in the nose, and I didn't catch who it was. But the car that hit him in the back has gone all the way back to the end of the line. I think it might have been. It's not Austin Hund.
Patrick Collins.
It might have been, but there was the car that hit Carricker hit him awfully hard, and it's no longer with him. And so you got to be careful. You don't want to stove the nose in on this thing. Meanwhile, Colby Pierce. He's made his way back up to 12th. He's going to zero in on the 46th. And we're starting to get 3x3 one more time, Sam.
Well, finally, John Guerrero gives up that middle lane and decides that Kyle Heath is his best friend on the racetrack as they come down the backstretch. And Kyle Heath has decided, I don't need air across this radiator. And so he's going to push John Guerrero as hard as he can to make up for the time that he lost with the incident with Corey Crandall. So now we're back 3 wide. And if Edwin James can close up here on Joseph Klein in this middle lane, it's really going to become congested up front as we're getting close now. We're getting closer every lap to green flag stops. And Shelby, I'm always down for a COD friend as well. If you're ever looking around for a friend, look up Sudden Impact. Be glad to shoot a few with you. You and Troy, if you want to join in.
You know, Sam, when people start talking about do you play Call of Duty, I always want to refer them to Call of Duty 1 on PS2. That was when I started playing it. The Big Red 1. I can remember Craig Boggs and I, a great friend of mine in college. We used to hang out. I had an apartment I shared with a couple of friends, and we would sit around and play Call of Duty in single player, like in the campaign mode, and spot spot each other.
Oh, how interesting! That's
so like he would so we would sit around and we neither one of us had class on Thursdays, and so Craig and I, our senior year, and so Craig and I would get together a cooler full of refreshments and sit around and spot each other trying to beat the campaign mode. And if you remember, that was hard because that game didn't have a multi.
Oh yeah, there were certain levels that you could play. It almost seemed impossible. You're
Yeah,
right.
the bridge to Remagen. Oh my goodness, gracious, that was impossible. And and people don't think about that now. You know, you play Call of Duty and it's a giant multiplayer game and whatever. Back then, if you wanted to play multiplayer, you better have 2 controllers, and the dadgummit controllers were as expensive as the PlayStation was. So,
No, that's true.
you know, you didn't have 2 controllers most of the time, and so you would play through the story level. You would play through the stories together, almost like a team game with one guy looking at maps and, you know, calling out where enemies were and looking for cover for you. It was kind of a cool deal. We managed to beat Call of Duty and the Big Red one together.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but John Guerrero now is starting to do that side draft from the top, and now that really puts the middle car under a lot of pressure. As now Troy Carricker gets behind Guerrero, he is the next person to try and push John to the front.
We're going to go ahead
the
and
damage that John has. I believe that the damage he has on that car really, once he gets to clean air up front, it really bogs down. I think that the damage really may slow that car down some.
I have to bill you right, Sam. I mean, you can see it all over.
Yes.
You can see it all over the front of that car. We'll get on the
contact millness.
Yeah, there it is. There's the damage. You can see the left side of that 59. It's all scarred up. The hood's bent. You know, we're going to get back on the P1 airship, but there's definitely some damage to that number 59. You're right. Every time he gets to the front of that draft, that baby stalls out a little bit.
The momentum stalls. Yeah, it's incredible how much it does slow down.
It is indeed. He's going to try. He's got some help. He's got Carricker right behind him. And
so close on this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dicey right there.
You know,
it's so dicey. I'm sorry I get quiet, but I'm holding my breath.
It is. Now, if I was Troy
if I'm
Carricker,
in the car, I'm holding my breath. If I'm outside the car, I'm holding my breath.
And I'm waiting for Troy Carricker to dive down and follow the 46, but he doesn't do it. He's going to stay up there with John Guerrero. And Guerrero, by virtue of that side drive, he's able to hold his spot. But I believe if they would,
stalls things down. It's really not a speed advantage as much as it is just to slow the momentum of the car that's beside you. It's just to stall things up a little bit.
Yeah, I believe if I was Carricker, Donald Green, Braden Langley, one of those cars in that top groove, I might just check up a little bit, slide down behind Colby Pierce, and I bet they could hang that 59 out.
Troy would probably benefit. There he goes. He will probably benefit himself more if he gets in that middle lane and just gets to the inside of Guerrero. The damage may just be too much there, and Guerrero's going to really make contact again.
Yes, he is. So now we're 2x2x2. For the lead, the 35 of Corey Crandall has gone to that lead. He's got Joseph Klein his outside. It is Klein, Milness, and Heath on the top. You have Crandall, Moquin, and Heaney on the bottom. They have aid from Sean Merriman in the 18. James Hodgson is down there, as is the teddy bear Ted Craven. Further back on the outside line, you've got Edwin James, Colby Pierce, and Troy Carricker. We are in the airship because that is basically the best way to watch this race, Sam.
I'm just wondering where we're at as far as pit stops go and where their fuel levels are, because the cars are starting to move around even more now as they have previously in the run.
Oh, we got trouble in the back. Donald Green around. Around goes John Guerrero. Hard contact.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Hard licks for John Guerrero and Donald Green, and a tough break for Donald Green. My goodness gracious.
Now, this is one of those instances where Donald Green has been giving lots of room to the car on the bottom all night long. That's how he's been racing this race. He's been giving plenty of room to the car on the bottom. He's staying high. It's not because he's slow. It's just that he's being cautious. And he has not raced with John Guerrero tonight. He had no idea that Guerrero was going to be racing that close and taking that chance through the middle. And so he's really extremely close and gets into the left rear of Donald Green in that light area of the tri-oval, and that just sends cars careening. And Donald Green, unfortunately, is the worst recipient of this particular incident.
Yeah, we're gonna get on board with John Guerrero here. Just to kind of see. Here he goes, and that might have been a little optimistic. Although Donald Green does come down a little bit. Then again, Sam, I mean, I'm not the steward here, but
well, the way I've always looked at the racing is that there's 3 particular lanes, and he's still above that second dotted line.
Yeah,
There's just so much room beneath him. Even if he's riding out there, I'm sure Donald Green is thinking, I have plenty of room. I have at least 2.5 car lengths or car widths from the guy below me. And then at the last second, someone fills that spot. So that's really, as a guide, that's what I go by when I rewatch some of these things, is where in the racing lane are these particular cars. Donald Green is above that second white dotted line, and John is not. John is on the white dotted line, and so it's really close. And I'm not here to pass blame. I'm just calling what I see on the racetrack.
there you go. We're gonna see how much of this damage John Guerrero gets fixed. There is a bunch of it on that 59. The hood is beat up. He's got it all down the left side. He's got damage to the back. I wonder what this Super is going to look like when he pulls away. Meanwhile, Corey Crandall, along with everybody else, has made a pit stop. Nobody stayed out on that racket, Sam. Corey Crandall, James Hodgson, Joseph Klein, the top 3. Michael Moquin, Jason Heaney, Kyle Heath, Sean Merriman, Kendall Paul, Edwin James, and Nolan Milnes are your top 10. We have a request to ride on board with Braden Langley through that incident. And so, you know what? If you request it, Sam,
Let's give the fans what they want.
We will give the fans what they want. It takes a minute to get back through it. There we go. You are looking through Braden Langley's eyes going through that accident, Casey Turner, and here's what he is going to see. There's Guerrero and Donald Green to the outside. You see Braden Langley change lanes up, and the seas are just going to part. You couldn't have threaded the needle any better than that, Sam. Could not have threaded the needle any better than that. Braden Langley is going to drive through that mess without a scratch. And there he is.
Well, as they say, the racing gods were in his favor.
See, if that would have been me, the car would have come back down across my nose, and
I'd be in the upper deck of the front grandstand.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be that would be me. Corey Crandall, there's your leader in the 35 Tracker Boats machine. Cabela's on the side of that good-looking hot rod. First gear racing. James Hodgson in the forward-facing 88. He's going to be on the outside, Sam. He's got himself a spot on the front row. How about that?
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Let's really give a shout out to James. James is he's the perfect gentleman when it comes to racing here. Always has a kind thing to say.
Yes, and
Superbly nice guy.
Yes, although he's not a fan of Volkswagens and endurance races. They tend
well, nobody's perfect.
They do tend to be. He does tend to term them as Muppets. So. James is on my team for the 24 hours of Daytona.
Where did we see
12 hours of
Donald
Sebring.
Green actually went a lap down in this? Is he still in the pit lane?
Yeah, he's still. That car is toast. There's poor Donald.
Oh wow.
There's poor Donald Green. His car is hurt badly. He has been under repair for 3 minutes now. Meatball on the number 6, and that's a shame. Donald Green
What a shame.
was having a heck.
You could really
of a
tell
run.
that he was really protecting the car tonight, doing everything in his power to just keep the car clean till the end of the race. I'm sure that's what he was trying to do, and it looked like that was his strategy, and it was working perfectly. And so I really hate that for Donald.
Yeah, I do too. If ever there's a couple of guys that needed a good finish in this series, Donald Green and Brian Sharp were two of them. And both of them wind up on the hook one more time tonight. And so keep at it, boys.
Look at the side exhaust of these cars through the blimp. That's amazing. There's a little cloud cover, so it's dark, and looks like little fireworks coming off the side of the cars as they're playing with the throttles on this restart. What a great shot.
Yes,
That's
yes,
really good.
yes, it is.
I'm in my seat. I'm in my seat at the moment. I'm on top of the grandstands.
Yeah, Sam has decided to go to his spot. We're gonna get the speed shot one more.
Lee Campbell has. Oh
Whoa,
no!
we got trouble.
No, what happened? Is that Corey Crandall that checked up on the inside?
I don't know. Joseph Klein is on the apron.
No, that's Joseph Klein. Joseph Klein. He may have missed a shift.
Whatever it was, Joseph Klein is going to get kicked to the back of this deal. He did
He'll lose the draft.
No, he's going to be okay, Sam. I think he's going to be okay. Joseph Klein is on the back of the. He's on the back of the field. He is the caboose, but he's made it. There he is.
Yeah, it looks like he's held on just close enough to Zachary Wake.
Yep.
To go from that close up front to the very back. Wow.
Yeah, so he's going to be within 0.6 of a second. So he's got the draft of Austin Hund, Trevor Benz, Dylan Godnez, and so forth in front of him. He'll be okay. Now the problem is that those cars are heavily damaged, and so he needs to get around them so that he can move forward. Meanwhile, we're going to get back to the front of this fight, and we're going to bring in Donald Green. Donald, you've got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
You know, an early pedestrian here in the Talladega 250, you were doing such a tremendous job, having a heck of a run. You brought the car up into the top 10 at one point. Was the strategy just to try to keep it clean there, and you got hit by a lightning bolt? Can you just kind of tell us what happened?
Yeah, we had a fast car all through practice. Ran early on in practice, ran top of the board for a little while, and just super fast. Had a lot of speed out of the Chevrolet this week, and trying to keep it clean, trying to make sure I gave guys plenty of room, and just be patient. And we ran pretty good. Got up probably I think 7th, 8th for a little while there, and just kind of made a bad decision to jump to the outside lane and got shuffled back. And we were just trying to work our way back up front there, and I think that was a 3-wide situation that probably shouldn't have been a 3-wide situation there, and I don't know.
It happens. That's Talladega. We thank you so much for coming to the booth. And it's we know that you're going to get up front. You're going to have the finish you deserve one of these days. You had a great run today. Any friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, it's our first season, so we can only go up from here. Hopefully our luck gets a little bit better, and if the season doesn't turn out the way we want, well, there's always next season. As far as shout-outs, friends, family, my wife always in the chat, always supporting us. We had Christian Light back this week. Heck, glad to have him back. We got Braden Langley in the field right now. Hopefully he can lock one down for us. And Poor Boys Trucking LLC, Tartar, Oregon Ranch Equipment, W Energy, VP Racing Fuel, all the guys on the car, all the guys back at the virtual shop that put these things together every week. All the AMA sponsors, Rogue Energy, Archway Industrial, Black Magic Studios, all those guys, everybody that puts the broadcast together, sponsors that, and you guys for doing it for us, man. You guys always put on a great show, and we appreciate it.
We thank you so much, Donald, for stopping in the booth. I know it's about 25 laps earlier than you would have wanted to, but we thank you so much, and we'll see you back next week. All right, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to Texas, and I'm also looking forward to having a little bit of fun this weekend in my first IndyCar run. So we'll see how the Indy 500 goes.
You know what? It's going to be my pleasure to be on the track with you. We'll see you Saturday.
And we'll see you, man.
Yep. That is Donald Green, an early out here, had such high hopes for the Talladega 250. Unfortunately, caught in a mess of his own making. And I'll tell you what, these guys are not done making that mess yet, Sam.
No, they're not. And of course, as these laps wind down, the risk takers will come out. and they will take their chances, and they will roll the dice, and they will gamble as hard as they can, because as you get into these closing laps of the race, a lot of drivers want to be up front, but there is no safe place in these plate tracks.
No.
It doesn't matter if you're up front, in the middle, or in the back. It just seems like there is no safe place. Talladega reminds me that there is a reason a one-legged man does not hop through a minefield.
I love
I'm just telling you.
I love the Sam sayings. We're gonna have to get a list of those together here at P1. We do want to thank everybody, by the way. We've had an awesome audience tonight. Do want to thank Shelby and everybody that sent the super chats in. If you have not already done so, make sure you hit the like, the thumbs up button, smash that on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Every single one helps. So we do.
Just so close.
We are so close.
People.
Hit the subscribe button. Meanwhile, I got to give a call down to Joseph Klein. He was on the apron. Joseph Klein was on the apron. You thought he was going to lose the draft. He has not lost the draft. There's the number 7. He's right alongside Troy Carricker. He has moved it back up into 15th place. At one point, just a few laps ago, Joseph Klein set the fastest lap of the event. Now, I know that doesn't mean much in a plate race, Sam.
Well,
but
there he goes. 3 wide.
Yep. But that 7 is going to be worth the price of admission here very quickly, I have a feeling.
He has been one of those that's ventured out into that outside line, and he's not afraid to push it up through the middle as well. It seems like Michael Moquin and Corey Crandall have formed a bond here, and they're just going to ride it out. It looks like Kyle Heath has latched himself onto those particular drivers as well.
Yeah, there you go. So there's
the outside line just doesn't seem to want to organize itself.
No, they're not nearly as organized, and you've got some experience down there. Crandall, Moquin, Kyle Heath, the 77 of Eric Corder has pulled up there, as has Sean Merriman. Sean Merriman is a highly experienced guy. His Supra is very well known. The 25 car down there, that is Braden Langley. That is the last bullet in the chamber for Donald Green's team. And after early outs by Christian Light, excuse me. I bet it'd be fun if we had Christian Clean do a stock car race, Sam. But he's the last bullet in that. He's the last bullet in that danger close stable.
Oh yeah.
And he's giving it a ride. He's up. He's 11th, and so Braden Langley keeps on trucking. Just kind of looking.
Seen, you were mentioning Joseph Klein earlier. Joseph Klein is doing something that a lot of drivers over the years that I've noticed. This has become the pattern. It's called weaving. And what he will do is that he will get runs in either the top line or the bottom line. And if he can get past the car that's on the opposite line, he'll move up into that line if he can. So he'll weave from top to bottom, at least to try and move up through the field. It's just wherever the runs and the gaps come open. It doesn't always work, but it is a popular thing to do on iRacing.
It is, and he hasn't been shy about hitting that in middle either. The 7 of Joseph Klein hasn't.
But
he's
these
up to.
Drivers are wise to that. They've been closing that down now much better than they did earlier in the event.
You're not going to see the middle. You're not going to see guys running around the top. No. Yeah, you're not going to see guys running around the top and the bottom anymore with the middle open. It's going to be a line on the bottom, a line in the middle, and if you want to get around,
make that big run, you're gonna have to do it outside. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make like Harry Gant and get real comfortable with that wall. Of course, I don't know if you remember this, Sam. It's been in my lifetime and your lifetime too. There was a car that went over the wall on national television here at Talladega. You remember that one?
I don't remember a car going. I remember many a car going over the walls in Darlington. I don't remember a car going over the wall. I was at the race when Elliott Sadler had his wreck in turn 3. That's the highest I've ever seen a NASCAR car get in the air. But I don't remember a car going out of the park.
I bet, Sam, you have waited your entire week to hear this name. Jimmy Horton, 1993. He went out of the ballpark here at Talladega When he
Was
landed,
that a cup race?
it was a cup race. Whenever
Wow.
whenever he landed, there was a guy sitting on the hood of his car, and he walked up, asked him if he was okay, and offered him a refreshment. And that's how he knew he was at Talladega.
Oh, well, of course. Only at Talladega do you get that kind of accommodation.
Well,
We're 3 wide going down the back stretch. It's starting to get intense now.
It is, and there's the blimp. We can no longer show you all of the action from a normal camera.
Not from a
normal camera. They're 3 wide, 4 rows deep.
And just as we were saying a little while ago, there will be no more shooting the gap. You're going to have 3 definitive lines here, and there will be some drivers that will possibly take some chances, but you're going to see 3 definitive lines probably to the end of the event here. Those 3 cars on the bottom, Corey Crandall, Michael Moquin, and Kyle Heath, they nose to tail for quite some time, and I really want to give a shout out because we really haven't talked about him much, but the car that started shotgun on the field, the 77 of Eric Corder, started in 33rd position, is now is the 4th car on that inside line, and he has quietly and steadily made his way up into contention here at the end of this event. So a big shout out to Eric for quietly and professionally making his way up here to try and win this particular race.
Yeah, huge shout out to him, and keep on trucking, Eric, because he is the focal point for this camera shot brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. We have got the top, let's call it 16, 17 cars in this shot. Every single one of these cars is on the lead lap, with the exception of Zachary Wake, who's going through the middle there. He has 7 laps in arrears. Everybody else that's in this camera shot has a shot to win this baby. Troy Carricker just pulled it up the middle. He blasts by Kendall Paul. Let's see if he can make some moves here.
Well, he got shuffled back. Second stage, beginning of the 3rd stage, and the last stage. And now Troy's just patiently, again, he's just one of those drivers who's methodically made his way back up to the front. I don't think that James Hodgson's going to get the push that he needs on that outside line.
Now
he
is. There he goes.
They do get a big run.
There he goes. Kendall Paul got hooked up with him. Those are 2 teammates. They are in Discord together. They are in communication, and you can tell it. Those 2 just rocket along the outside.
What a push by Kendall Paul.
He got to him at exactly the right time. And Kendall Paul and James Hodgson, they're going to make it a 3-wide race for the lead. 15 laps to go here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Now, the one thing that I don't like about being on the outside like that, Sam, is you are there's no safe place.
You're vulnerable. You're completely vulnerable to everyone below you. I know exactly where you're going. You're helpless. And the margin for error for everyone is small, but the propensity for damage puts you at the greatest risk. Oh, and they make contact.
There they go.
Oh no, they're gonna. It looks like Hodgson saves it. Everyone keeps the car going straight, except for the 15 of Zachary Wake. He is the only one that did not keep it straight, as he is in the infield.
We're going to go back and watch this.
Carricker actually gets caught up in this, and he slides across the end of pit road, and when he does, he gets a black flag, but I believe they will clear that because he was avoiding the incident.
Yeah, that wasn't anything that Troy Carricker did wrong there.
Yeah, Carricker, Braden Langley, Zachary White, all of them received that penalty, but they're going to get those penalties cleared.
Yeah,
they are well off the pace now. They are way back off the pace.
Yeah, here's the replay from Braden Langley.
Now we have a 12 or 11 car breakaway at the front.
And that all started with the 15.
Zachary Wake.
Of Zachary Wake getting into contact with James Hodgson. Hodgson actually, of all the guys that were involved in that, he made out the best. He kept it the straightest. And he's going to have some help. You see the 42 there. That's Colby Pierce. He's got Ted Craven back there.
He pointed in the right direction.
Yeah. And so there you go. There's Braden Langley. He is 18.
Now, if you watch these cars in the replay, they go through the yellow wood sign, and then there's a yellow or a green cone at the end of pit road right there. If they pass through the left side of that cone, they receive a penalty in iRacing. And so that's what we were talking about, the penalties that were being cleared. Because they're avoiding an incident, administration usually will clear those particular black flags.
Yes, they are. So we're back to the front. It is a 10-car draft now. 10 cars at the front. That's Crandall, Moquin, Heaney, Heath, Milnes Quarter, Kendall Paul, Sean Merriman, Joseph Klein, and Edwin James. Ted Craven, the teddy bear, is by himself in 11th. And he is going to wait, it appears, on this next group that's being led by Colby Pierce. You've got Troy Carricker, Austin Hund, Mark Owlett, Braden Langley, Ryan O'Donohue, and James Hodgson in this group. We've got 12 laps to go here at Talladega. We're going to get back up in the main fight because this is where it is for the lead. And they are 2x2. Now, here's the thing. If that second group can get organized and they can get the teddy bear to lead them, Craven's car is relatively clean, as is Colby Pierce's. If they can get organized and get in line, they will catch this group in a hurry. And
Ted Craven is the teenager wearing headgear to the prom. He has no one to dance with. He is all alone out here. He has no help whatsoever. Dylan Godinez is not going to be able to help him just simply because Dylan Godinez is several laps down in 20th position. And Ted Craven is just that he just keeps dropping back more and more. He's standing against the wall. Yeah, no one willing to help.
Well, and he's the poor guy. He's still he's got Colby Pierce in his draft. Poor Ted Craven's out there running around 10 miles an hour slower than everybody else.
Yeah, that is one of the loneliest feelings, is that when you lose the draft and you're by yourself and there's no help. It is. You talk about at the beginning of the broadcast tonight, talking about boring during qualifying. That is boring. When
well, now here he is. They've got him. Now, these cars are all in single file, and they're doing the right thing. They have a clean car in front. That's Colby Pierce. They are organized, and they are right around the bottom. He's got
Ted should drop right here and fall in line, and he will right in front of James Hodgson. And that will even out that field and give them more cars. More cars in a single line and tight will make them fast.
Yep, and that's
they're well. I mean, they're 6 seconds back of the lead pack.
They are. We're talking about 7.2 seconds between Colby Pierce and Edwin James. But we're going to check the lap times as they come through this next time by. They should, if they can get organized like this and get going, they should be much faster than that lead group. The last time through, though, Colby Pierce, 51.720, the leader 51.167. So they're still losing time, Sam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This lead pack has a lot of momentum. They're not dicing it up and racing each other extremely hard. They're not three wide, so they will still be able to carry quite a bit of momentum. And Michael Moquin has not left. Kyle Heath, Michael Moquin, and Corey Crandall have not left each other. They have decided this is where I'm staying till the end of the event. This is where I want to run, and this is what I'm going to do. And Eric Corder as well. Eric Corder has stayed right behind Kyle Heath on the bottom side. And those 4 cars, out of all these cars up front, of the 10 that are running in this lead pack, those 4 cars have remained on the bottom, nose to tail, for the last 10, 15 laps.
We do have a point of debate as to the last car to leave the yard here at Talladega. David Dunwoody's chimed in and said Ricky Craven in the Kodiak Chevrolet once left the ballpark here, but I cannot recall that one. It wasn't that long ago that Talladega only had a catch fence along the main straight and along the backstretch in front of the grandstands. It actually did not have the retaining fence all the way around it until pretty recently. I want to say the years started with a 2 by the time it had just a fence all the way around it, Sam. I want to say.
I'm eager to see who's going to be the one that Kendall Paul seems to be the one that's testing the waters the most in this lead pack. And there'll be one that wants to test the waters the most. But now Sean Merriman goes out to the outside. Sean has quietly been racing at the back of this group all this time. and now he goes to the top. He's just kind of weighing things out to see if anyone goes to the top with him. Kendall Paul's been looking in the middle. He's been looking outside. He's been looking wherever his runs are. Kendall Paul seems to be the one that's interested the most to try and make a big run, maybe on the outside, or if they split down the middle enough that he may take the inside.
Indeed. Now
there's going to be a little experimentation now because we're getting within the 5 lap mark now. 5 laps to go.
we are indeed. Now I do want to point out to all of our fans that are watching. Of course, of the top 10, 7 of these are first gear racing cars. So 7 of these 10 are working together. Kendall Paul is not one of those.
They made contact in 3. Oh, Sean Merriman's able to save it. Does he have enough momentum? Yeah, I think he'll be fine. He'll hold on to the draft here if he gets a little help from Joseph Klein.
Of course, Klein was
up here behind him. They'll be able to hold on.
Klein,
now, here's the thing: if they can link up here, they'll get this big run. And now Kendall Paul's on the outside.
They will.
If they can get this big run, they may give him a push that he needs.
They will, and I think that's Kendall's only hope, because all of the cars in front of him are members of the same team, I believe.
Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that.
And so, 7 out of the top 10 are first gear racing cars. We know Kendall Paul is not. If I'm thinking right, Jason Heaney is not, and I want to say that either Sean Merriman or
Merriman gives that big run up and just falls in line behind Edwin.
Yeah.
And that leaves Joseph Klein and Kendall Paul on the outside. Now, we have seen a 2-car tandem get a big run off of 4 in the past, and they are going to get a little bit of run through the tri-oval here. But with no help outside of just those two drivers, it's going to be really a tall task for them to be able to hold a position or to get past those leaders.
Well, and the other thing I kind of wanted to point out, too, it says 4 to go. 4 miles here at Talladega is it's still a long ways. That's
even at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, 4 to go here at Talladega is still 12, 13 miles. It's not. It's the longest speedway in NASCAR for sure. Of course, that was its cachet.
Kendall Paul gets shuffled back. Joseph Klein just stops the push, and Kendall Paul.
Okay, so 78, 18, and 77 are not part of that group. So that would be Kendall Paul, Sean Merriman, and the 77 of Eric Corder. Everybody else that's in that group is working together.
That would explain why those 3 cars have been so glued to one another on the bottom.
Yeah, they're not going to get this
now.
up.
Lap traffic is coming into play here. Dylan Godinez wisely pulls up to the wall, and he just stays up top as the leaders come by quickly on the inside. Dylan Godinez's car is clearly highly damaged from the incidences that he's been involved in tonight. And now
we've got 2 more up here.
Hit parade in the hit parade, that'll be the 15 of Zachary Wake, and then the 00 of Patrick Collins. And they'll make quick work of those 2 drivers. And now, with 2 laps to go, we're going to be seeing even if they're team cars, when do you throw the team aspect out the window?
Well, that depends on who. That depends.
When do you decide, okay, it's my time to make a choice?
That depends. Kendall Paul hops to the outside. He's got help from the number 7 of Joseph Klein. Klein has not been afraid to move the entire day, but he's going to need. He's going to have to. He's going to have to get
to
him
the center, and now they should get a big run here coming down the front stretch.
We're going to get the white flag. We've got 1 more lap to go as they hit the flag stand.
There's that big run I was telling you about, Kendall Paul on the outside. Now he's going to pull alongside the outside of the front row. They're still not organized enough on the top side, but here's watch this run from Kendall Paul as he gets some momentum on the outside. And now Sean Merriman has decided he's going to get involved here on that outside line. He's still not quite close enough. and they tuck it in really tight in behind Corey Crandall as they come down the backstretch and into 3. Eric Corder washes up the racetrack, and now he's lost all momentum. Oh, Sean Merriman in the wall. As Edwin now gets into him. Now he's out of play. They're coming down the front stretch into the tri-oval. Corey Crandall seems to have a handle on the inside line as he gets pushed from Michael Moquin.
Moquin's going to pull the outside, but no.
Going to win. And they're wrecking after the start finish.
And of course, we have the Talladega, the obligatory.
The traditional wreck after the checkers.
My goodness, what a heck of a race that was, Sam.
Well, it's nice to have friends. I'm sure Corey Crandall is going to be passing out the thank you cards heavily after the event here. Michael Moquin, Kyle Heath, those drivers stayed with him the entire end of this event after that late last caution, and they did not leave their teammate. And so Corey Crandall really will have some big shout outs, I'm sure, in the post-race interview for those guys.
I'm sure he will. He's getting love taps and spun around and knocked around by all of them.
That's all. Those are sheer signs of respect. There's no one angry or mad.
No, there's not. Corey Crandall, he's going to bring home the win today in the Talladega 250 in the Blackmagic Studios AMA Grand National Series. Michael Moquin a second. Kyle Heath rounds out the podium. Jason Heaney, Joseph Klein, the remainder of the top 5. Nolan Milnes, Edwin James, Kendall Paul, Eric Corder, and Sean Merriman fill out the top 10. In 11th, Colby Pierce, Austin Hundas 12th. Ryan O'Donohue never really made much noise tonight. He comes home 13th. Troy Carricker, he ran up front a bunch, and he'll bring it home 14th. Braden Langley, the last car in that Danger Close stable, after all 3 ran well, he is 15th. Mark Owlett is 16th. James Hodgson is 17th, and Ted Craven is going to be the final car on the lead lap. Trevor Benz in 19th. Dylan Godinez, he traveled around with a lot of damage for a lot of the night, Sam. Dylan Godinez will bring it home 20th.
Looks like Michael Moquin and Kyle Heath are sitting on the front stretch here. They may be trying to get a photo op going with Corey Crandall, but I guess Corey's already checked out.
Well, Corey's currently on the start finish line. Patrick Collins, Zachary Wake, John.
Oh, there he is. Okay,
Donald
now
Gray.
they're going to get their little photo op, their team photo op.
Yeah, Lee Campbell is going to be 25th. 26th, Keith Graham. 27th, Justin Osterman. Brian Sharp, Michael Kirk, and Greg Evans are going to be the remainder of the front 30.
That's exactly what they're getting ready to do.
Yeah. 31st, Kristen Light. 32nd, John Hutchins. Sam and I, of course, did not race.
But not for a lack of wanting to.
In my case, it's a lack of talent. So there you go.
Well, that's debatable. So now the drivers have got their little photo op, and that's what good teams do.
Yes, those are some of the most fun times in the sim when you get to do those little things like that.
It really is.
I have my own. Yeah, I mean, I have my own thing where I do the Polish victory lap. Everybody does something a little bit different, though.
Yeah, I do. I do straightaway burnout.
I was never a burnout guy. As a matter of fact, Seb Alexander.
I'll go as far as I can go on a burnout down the front stretch.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Seb Alexander was telling me the other day that I needed to work on my burnouts, and then he was gonna have somebody teach me how to do burnouts. And so, in the waiting room, we're gonna go ahead and bring in Kyle Heath. Kyle, you've got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, my man, you started in the back. You kind of hung out back there the first stage, and then we looked up, and lo and behold, there's a car with Busch Ice on the hood that's running in the top 5. And there you stayed. You never really kind of got to the lead, but it was close. What do you think it would have taken to have gotten to the top spot, or were you just firmly in support of your teammates up there today?
I was in full support right there. I was just, I just barely got back home, and I tried to do a qualifying run, and I only had like a minute and 20 seconds. I was like, you know what? I'm just starting the back.
Pit lane, yeah,
I'm gonna just start in the back, and I worked my way methodically kind of up through the field, and and I was trying to run it, trying to get up there and get some stage points, but I never could get any stage points tonight. You know, I got up.
You
No, I
really
got
missed
up.
some close incidences.
Yes,
You really
yes.
were. You were in
Oh,
the
my
bee's
Lord.
nest a couple of times. Yeah.
Boy, one time it really scared me. It was really puckered up moment, that's for sure. But yeah, like I
we
said,
saw you waving your hand out the window a couple of times during the event for sure.
Was that waving the hand, or were you rattling ice cubes at him, Kyle? That's the question.
I was throwing more of my beer cans out the window.
Well, it's better than cigarette butts.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that no more. I had to quit that one.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, like I said, methodically, I try to work my way up. I try to get stage points. I couldn't get no stage points, so I was like, you know what? I at least want to finish the race, and I had that scary moment. And then, went pit. I was hoping we were going to have green flag pit stops. That way it could really spread out the field.
Agreed.
And that way the team, because we were trying to go in the pit as a team, but, it didn't work out that way. But like I said.
Well, you sure finished as a team.
Yeah, it was a team effort. We were battling out, that's for sure. But I was, I made my bed, I laid in it, and I just stayed in the bottom line. I wasn't going to do nothing. So, and we had a good run coming out of turn 4, and Michael stayed behind Corey, to push him to the win. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try nothing either. I'm going to stay right here. Let's just go. Let's just finish this thing. It's been a long night.
Amen.
But heck yeah, FGR boys, we had them off there. It was fun, that's for sure.
It looked like it was fun, Kyle, and we certainly appreciate you stopping by in the booth. Absolutely. Yep. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, again, big thanks to AMA. I mean, it was a pretty good race all in all. I figured with the night, it was some cars going to look like, most cars going to look like at the end of a Martinsville race, but there was a lot of clean cars out there. That was good. And everybody did good near the end. I'm surprised we made it to the finish without wrecking.
Sure did, yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
That's a big positive. Positive.
Big shout out to FGR. Big shout out to you guys. That was fun. I can't wait to go back and watch it. It's a whole lot of different picture besides in the cockpit than you are on the outside of the screen watching.
Oh, it's a good race to watch. I think you're going to enjoy it.
We had it all, Kyle. We had Sam-isms. We had a Jimmy Horton reference. We even talked about Richard Brickhouse. So I do hope you enjoy it.
Oh Lord, yeah, I love those classic names kind of being brought up. I always enjoy those. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we do enjoy you, Kyle. We enjoy watching your race. Get out of here. Go have some fun, my friend. Keep going fast. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is Kyle Heath. He's going to run third. Excuse me. I'm not used to saying Kyle Heath runs third. We're gonna bring in the car immediately to the front of his, and you're going to see all three of these quite a bit in this post race interview. This is the number 8 of Michael Moquin. Michael, you got Mark and Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. Pose the same question: was it a team effort, and you guys were content to tuck in behind Corey, or did you think about pulling out and trying to win the race as it came down to get the flag?
Oh, 100%. It was a team effort. We were all of us were working together. Personally, for me, I didn't really want to pull out because I've already got the win there at Daytona. So a restrictor plate track, I've already got one win on that. So now it's just being more consistent and finishing more consistently and trying to get those points racked up. So for me personally, I was content where I was at, and I was just going to push until either my engine blew up or we got the checker flag. So there was a couple times for sure that I was like, well, I'm either going to blow up and wreck somebody behind me. And unfortunately that last little stint, it was Kyle. So I was like, please don't blow up. But yeah, it was definitely a team effort all the way around, between even Jason, Nolan, all those guys. So it was definitely a team effort across the board.
Yeah, Michael, I noticed actually in the pre-race, I'd actually called you out just simply because you ran so strong and so aggressively at Daytona. I kind of thought that you might want to do the same tonight, but you were very conservative compared to your last run. So you kind of answered a lot of questions for me right there. What goes through your mind when the driver instinct is that this is not how I normally race the race, but this is how I am going to race the race. What goes through your mind when you're going through through such a long event like this?
Just mostly the biggest thing is just try to stay off of everybody beyond what is needed. But for me, it's just staying as clean as possible and trying not to get caught up in the incidences. Like the first stage, I got a 4X from, I guess, netcode because I had no damage when we went down pit road. And then same thing on the next caution, got another 4X for nothing. And so like the biggest thing is, again, it's a restrictor plate track. It's a roll of the dice on what's going to happen. And definitely tonight was just conservative. I mean, I've already had 4 DNFs this season so far.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I'm just like I originally said, I'm just trying to place the most
season.
Points. Exactly. And
I get that.
With one win at the beginning of the season, obviously my expectations are high because I know I can do it. But definitely today I was just more or less worried about working with the team and getting the team a win across the board. So
yeah, if nothing else, you found out that both strategies that you're more than adequately capable of driving under both strategies. So well done tonight, man.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations on the second place finish, Michael. As always, when you finish on the podium here at P1, the microphone becomes yours. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs if you got them, my man.
Definitely want to shout out First Gear Racing. Obviously the team is a huge part. I mean, we do everything we can to make sure that we're all fast. Shout out to EPI. Definitely being part of their driver development program has helped me across the board completely. Shout out to AMA for allowing First Gear Racing to come over and race and allowing us to be here. And then, big shout out to my mom because she has to sit here and listen to me for 3 hours screaming and yelling and cussing. And but yeah, definitely. And obviously, I've always got to shout out biggest sponsor for me, Under Industries and Chris Rangel. And obviously, big shout out to all the veterans out there, both in the league and outside the league, watching the broadcast. Without the sacrifices that we've all made while in service, we wouldn't be here to be able to do any of this. So, definitely big shout out to all service members and everybody who supports them.
We echo those sentiments, Michael. We thank you so much for stopping into the broadcast booth. I know you want to go celebrate with your team, and so keep going fast, having fun, and we will see you at the next one, my good man.
Well done,
yes,
Michael.
Sir. Off to Texas and hope for another good finish.
100%. That is Michael Moquin. He is second place tonight, and your winner here in the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series Talladega 250. That is this man, Corey Crandall. Corey, you've got Sam Crow and a very squeaky voiced Mark Murphy here. Kind of talk about your night. You got to the front, you had your team behind you, and you were never headed after that. Kind of talk to us about how you guys played that strategy to get there.
Yeah, we just went out and raced. We ended up somehow all of us getting together, and I mean, we wasn't really worried about who was leading the laps. We just wanted to run and try to make it to the finish without, Michael accidentally wrecking me and taking all 7 of us out. But I mean, it ended up working really well. And, earlier on in the race, Jason pushed me to the front on the high side. And once I got up to the front and then the end of stage 2 and then that first caution, on that last stage, or that only caution in the last stage. I mean, we got up front, we stayed up front, and I mean, heck of a job for those FGR guys, and I can't thank Michael and Kyle enough for just hanging with me and not, coming out of turn 4 on the last lap and not passing me, because I was ready for them to do it.
Well, clearly they said that they were going to stick with you to the end. So, Corey, great run tonight. I noticed there was a couple of times during the event where there were some scary moments on your entry. You seemed to wash up the track a little bit, and things got a little scary for you. Was the car getting a little light on you during the longer run?
Yeah, I think everybody else took tires on that caution there at the last stage, and I just did fuel and go. So I don't know what my tires were at the end of the race. I didn't look, but I know they were at 98 whenever I pitted for fuel on the last caution. So I'd say that probably didn't help my case much, but I'm just glad I was able to keep it off everybody. And
yeah, you did a great job. Yeah. We're certainly happy for your finish, and I know that adds another first gear driver to the winners list in this particular season, and so we're just really glad to be able to have this interview with you after a long event, really a long event. And it was a lot of chaos tonight, but not enough that we couldn't finish under green. So great job tonight.
Hey, thank you.
As always, my man. When you finish on the podium here on the P1 Broadcasting Network, you get the microphone. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours, Corey.
Hey, yeah, I want to thank you guys. I mean, I've watched the broadcast. I'll probably watch it here tonight before I go to bed, but you guys always do an awesome job. And, the first gear racing, and, these guys have made me, I've only been racing for about a year and a half. So these guys have really pushed me and gotten me a lot better at, these speedways and super speedways and short tracks. I mean, Kyle Heath, he's always, I want to be Kyle Heath when I grow up. But
well,
AMA,
in order to be Kyle Heath, you can never grow up. That's the thing.
I think that's the key. Yeah,
that may be the thing. But if I could race half as good as him, I mean, I'd be tickled to death. But I'll take my 1 or 2 years or 2 wins a year that I get, and I'll just go on and do it. But in AMA, I mean, I love racing these Xfinity cars. I broadcast for FGR Fridays and Mondays, so that kind of takes a little bit out of my racing seat, but I enjoy doing that for them guys. But I mean, that's about it. That's all I got.
Hey, well, we appreciate you stopping by. You gonna
what you got is a trophy and a checkered flag.
That's true.
That's it.
Are you gonna take the fenders off with the rest of them on Saturday, or are you gonna skip the land missiles?
Saturday I've got ball games, so I will not be racing Saturday. My son's first baseball tournament Saturday, unless it gets rained out for some reason.
There you go.
I will not be here Saturday.
Oh, that's way more important. Yeah.
It is way more important than seeing me attempt to drive an Indy car, which Ken Dale is going to force that to happen. But we definitely appreciate you stopping in, Corey. My apologies, my voice is starting to go. It's been a long week of work and doing this, so I definitely appreciate you. Keep going fast, having fun, my man, and we will see you at the next one.
Congratulations,
all right, thank
Corey.
you guys. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. That is Corey Crandall. He is your winner tonight. And Sam,
that was a good race. What a good race.
There
was a little bit of everything in that.
It was a good race, and I so much enjoy it. We'd definitely be remiss if we didn't thank our loyal followers here at P1. Already a massive number on the broadcast one more time. Great engagement for the fans. Do want to thank everybody out there. Do want to thank Whiplash SimCams for all of these incredible views. If you need, if you're a photographer, you want to add some different angles to your iRacing experience, your replays, your internet posts, whatever you may have, go check out. Whiplash SimCams. Do want to thank Sam for carrying me through a broadcast one more time. As you guys can tell, Sam,
heavens.
my voice is starting to go. So want to thank everybody out there. As a reminder, if you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like on the video, smash the subscribe, ring the bell, so that you can be notified of all future P1 broadcasts. We are off tomorrow, so Sam, you and I do not have anything tomorrow. We are going to not have anything Saturday either. Again, most leagues are off. this week. The next broadcast on the P1 Broadcasting Network is going to be Monday. That'll be Kyle Clinworth and myself with the IndyCar Open Series. That'll be live at 8 o'clock Eastern, and it will be immediately followed by the ISRA Series from Chicagoland with a 9:35 start. For Sam Crow, I am Mark Murphy, our founder Gary Godso, and everybody involved at P1. We want to thank all of the first responders, the military, the firemen, the police.
Thank you so much.
The nurses in the emergency room, the EMTs, everybody that does the hard work at night so that we can put our heads down on the pillow. We thank you. Sam.
Loosen those belts, take your hand off the wheel, relax, and have a great weekend.
I'm going to go eat some Rolaids. Night, y'all.
Good night.